What's up, film fam, and welcome to the Film Room podcast. My name's Dion,
My name is Scott.
and I am human.
Well, you didn't tell me you were gonna do that. I would have got like an ink splatter circle, man,
Snap.
to respond.
I also realized that for people watching the video, it's backwards too. Are you
No.
seeing it backwards? Is it?
No.
Oh, you see it right? Oh, it's
What?
just backwards.
It's the
for me.
camera. It's not a mirror.
That's true. On my camera, when I look at myself, it's backwards. But
Oh, that's weird.
Human, Scott,
Okay.
human, and
yes.
on this podcast, we also react to the takes from the internet, from IG, and from Reddit. We get into our deep dive conversation on the movie we just watched, which we are doing Arrival, the 2026 movie. I didn't even mention that. I just said
Yeah, I know. I was like, you just started talking about humans and stuff. I mean, hey, it's gonna be in the title. I'm sure they could figure
that
it
is
out.
fair. That is fair. Yeah, they're like, wait, what movie are they doing? I clicked on Arrival. You just mentioned are they doing Human? No, we're
Yeah.
not doing Human. And after we get into our deep dive, we have an award show at the end called the Filmmies, where we give out 6 awards to the movie we just watched. But before we get into all that, we have to salute the general and give our general thoughts.
General thoughts.
So, Scott, what were your? Have you ever seen Arrival before? I actually don't know if this is your first time viewing or not.
No, this is my second time. You've seen it too,
Your second time? Yeah, I've seen it before too. So, what are your thoughts on your rewatch of Arrival?
Yeah, it was great, man. It was better than the first time I watched it, just because I know kind of what the end is, and like I could see little Easter eggs kind of as I was watching, understand it a little bit better. I just think it's such an interesting take on an alien invasion. Like we've seen the take over the world aliens, the ones where they land and come out, take me to your leader kind of thing. We also have seen like friendly aliens where they're coming and they're not trying to take over. We've seen like District 9, we've seen one like ET, like we've seen, but though they're always kind of separated. Like District 9, for example, is kind of like aliens versus humans a little bit, but then there's also like ET friendly. It's humans against human. Like this is humans against humans, and aliens are kind of there, and we need to figure out how to communicate with them. So like the idea of following a linguist is such a good idea, and I think it's so interesting that the ships show up and they just sit there. It's not like they come out and then the aliens come out and then they're going through the world and people are like, scary alien. And they're like, no, we're actually friendly. Like it's not that. It's its own totally unique thing. It shows up and it's just there. And then the pull is just like, why are they here? And that's so interesting.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I think the thing that really sets this movie apart is like the tone. Like the tone of the movie, like the grounded and the seriousness of the fear that is felt like across the world, which is the thing that really stuck with me. Like I remember when I watched this movie, I was like, damn, I don't remember like an alien invasion movie feeling like this. And I think it's the parallel of what was happening on the time. I didn't watch this movie exactly when it came out. It was like a couple years after, but it was still like kind of in like that Marvel kind of era. So like we were just used to aliens being like in and around like all the time, and it stopped being a big deal when like, oh snap, like Loki's here, or like this new alien here, Guardians of the Galaxy, like aliens are just coming through all the time. So like that was kind of just like the vibe with aliens for a bit. And then watching this movie, I was like, oh yeah, this is how it would feel. Like people would be terrified, like just worldwide. Like it was just so gray also too. And just, yeah, it was just interesting. That tone is really stuck with me from this movie.
Yeah, I think that kind of goes hand in hand. What I would say was like, it's just the unknown of it. The fact that like they don't come out of the ship. So the only people that know what these things look like are the people that go into this room around the world. And I guess, they take pictures of them. So the people that are on these military bases, the only people that know what these aliens look like. So you can understand how panic would set in for the general public worldwide. These giant alien ships are here and there's 12 of them all around the world. And they're just sitting there. Like, what do they want? Why are they here? So like, whereas like in Marvel, like you're talking about, like Loki comes out and he's making a grand speech to the whole world saying, I'm gonna, lead our world and conquer and blah, blah. So like, yeah, that's still scary in a way of like an alien that's trying to take over the world, but everybody still knows what the threat is. This one is just like the unknown, and that can cause more panic than if they did know that they were a threat, like, because your mind just comes up with even worse than reality. You just think of the worst case scenario for why these aliens are here. So like that unknown, that panic, and we don't know what it is for the longest time, throughout this movie. So like we feel, I feel like we don't feel panicked because they kind of make it clear throughout. They're like, oh, they have to decompressurize their ship for 18 hours before we can go in. So they're like, oh, so they could suffocate us if they wanted to. And like when they're talking to each other, it doesn't seem like they're threatening them at all. So like we don't really feel panicked, but we still just feel curious.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Because your immediate thought is, well, it's not on site. They didn't pull up and they started just like exploding buildings and stuff like that. So everyone's kind of like, okay, well, they're not popping off immediately. There's some kind of dialogue that want to be said here. Do they want us to surrender? Are they trying to enslave us? Are they letting us know? Like, you don't know what it is. And like it's depicted throughout the movie. Like everyone's handling it differently. Some people are just like setting a fire to the world. Some people are looting because they're like,
Mm-hmm.
which is like a funny thing too. Like, what would you loot in this situation? Like, I'm already thinking like maybe it's the end for us. What the heck do I need like a flat screen for? Like,
Yeah. I mean, they make the point, like people are buying up groceries and water and toilet paper and like that
yeah,
stuff makes sense, I guess. I think it's realistic because if you think about like if 12 giant alien ships just showed up on Earth right now, are you just going to your work Monday morning? You know what I mean? Like, are people just going to
yeah.
live their regular lives, or are they? I mean, you're right. Like, okay, is the value of a diamond necklace going to even hold anything? Like at the end of in Armageddon, like, what's the point of looting? But I just think when tensions rise and like panic sets in, like people just do crazy stuff. I think it's realistic.
That is fair. I understand the looting of like supplies and stuff, and like I think that's 100% where my mind would go to. I don't know why I'm like almost being cynical. I'm imagining these people were all like rushing into like a Foot Locker or something, and I'm like, really, you're grabbing the Jordans right now, like or something. Like I don't know. Like I don't
Hey
know why I'm
man,
imagining they're grabbing useless shit.
hey man,
I'm judging them.
if I get a free pair of cement threes at the end of the world, I might have to do that. It's not a bad move, man.
Hey, that's fair. You know what? That's fair. I'm not mad at that.
I think the military tension storyline I think is a great addition that really raises the stakes in this movie.
Mhm.
Like I said, there's kind of the unknown of the aliens, but you don't feel threatened by them because they're communicating very friendly. Like they start to share their names and stuff. Once we find out kind of who they are and get an idea of like at least they're being cooperative, so you don't really
Mhm.
have that panic. So the stakes would just completely drop. We'd still be curious. Okay, why are you here? But we're not scared. The military tension totally adds that in because they're like, okay, now there's a time clock on this. Everybody else around the world is trying to figure this out too. There's a couple nations that like think that things might be threatening. So we have to figure out what the actual answer is quick before shit starts to pop off. And I read that this was actually something they completely added in. Like this movie, I don't know if well, I'm sure you know based on doing your research, but the listeners, I don't know if you know if this was uh, based on a novella called Story of Your Life from 1998. And yeah, none of this military tension, like otherworldly cooperation, none of that was in here. So that was something they added in. And I think it really works.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that too, and I didn't think this through. It's too far, and I'm like locked into my setup over here for the podcast. But I actually have the book. I haven't
Oh,
I haven't read the full thing, but I was actually like very surprised how different the book is from the. That's why I just like sometimes people are like, oh, based on the book, and it's like okay, like maybe they took some liberties, whatever. Like it's not completely different, and I'm not done the book, but I will
mm.
say I'm like halfway through it, and there hasn't been any aliens yet. So
Oh
like
wow.
yeah, exactly. I was like, oh, I thought it was gonna be like from the jump. It's not like that. You also start off with it's a male character,
Mm.
and the without like ruining the book, like it's really interesting concept of like to not getting too much in the weeds of all the stuff that he's doing, but like he kind of gets this ability. It's not like supernatural or anything. It's kind of like like he goes through like these trials and something that he takes kind of lets him to be more intelligent. And I'm thinking like, how is this anything like Arrival? But as he gets more and more intelligent, he starts to realize that like he's getting better at languages. And I'm like, okay, here is like a connection. There's a
Okay, here it
language
comes.
thing.
Yeah.
But and I'm like, this is probably gonna come to be when aliens come because like, he's getting smarter and smarter with language. And he's like, oh, I can know how to speak this language now, and I can speak this language. I'm like, oh, okay, I see where this is going.
Yeah.
So, but it's not. It's like this is feels like it's a completely different. Maybe it wraps up more into close to what the movie is, But from what I've read and like halfway through the book, it feels like I'm reading a different story, to
Yeah.
be honest. So
Yeah, and I mean that's something that I find again is so unique just about the story. Like every other alien invasion, like they come and they just speak English, and you
yeah,
know what I mean. So like that, the communication isn't the mystery around the aliens. They just like, hey, why are you here? And they can just answer. Whereas like this one, like it feels more grounded and realistic because if aliens came to Earth, why the hell would they be able to speak English? Of like
yeah,
they may not even speak. Like the fact that this movie starts with complete bare bones where she's explaining to us like I have to even explain to them what the meaning of a question is. Like I'm looking for information and that's coming from this part of the sentence. And like, so you have to start from absolutely nothing. And I think that's, I mean, it's an alien movie, so it's not realistic, but like, I feel like that's how it could go. Like you have to start from total scratch. So like the communication is what the pull is to this movie. It's not like the fact that they're aliens almost doesn't even matter. It could be a different human that shows up and is just like, hey, I don't speak English, so we have to like language and communication is the whole driving force of this movie. I've never seen that before in an alien movie.
yeah. No, 100%. I think it's kind of timely to with Project Hail Mary coming out because there's a little bit
A
of
little
that
bit,
in the movie.
a little
Completely
bit.
different tone, obviously, as well too. But this movie is heavily more focused. That's more of like a scene in Project Hail Mary, like getting through that. And then Project Hail Mary, like not like they rush it like in a bad way, where it's just like this isn't really a big part of the story.
Mhm.
We want to show you that there's a bit of like translation barrier here, and but this movie is way more focused on that language aspect. But
Yeah,
you're right though, it's usually not like that. It's just time because Project Hail Mary came out this year and they did
right.
something similar.
Yeah, that part of the movie is more like just to kind of build the relationship between them. Like, look, they started from scratch. They kind of became
Yeah,
buddies. They had to learn how to talk to each other, whatever. And then we can get to the rest of our movie. This movie is like
yeah,
the whole point of the movie is like, how can we communicate
exactly.
with these aliens? So different.
Yeah, no,
I think the
100%, and
scale
completely
too,
different
like,
tone.
yeah, oh, tone is way different. Denis will never have a funny movie. This guy's a
Oh no,
psychopath, man. This guy's dark
no,
as hell.
100%. 100%. Which is funny too. Before you get to your point too, Eloise hasn't seen this movie before. Shout out the producer, and she actually didn't get to watch the full thing with me. But I was like, you know what? This is one of my favorite movies. I don't want you like walking in and out. I was like, if
Mm,
you're gonna watch it, you're gonna sit down and
lock
you're
in.
watch it. Exactly. You gotta lock in. But she did see the beginning, and she's like, damn. So we're starting off with a kid dying of cancer. She's like, classic Denis, and then
Yeah, classic Denis. This guy, man, this guy just wants you to feel horrible. Like every time I think of this guy and I see his, especially his earlier movies, like you know, I mean, Dune gets pretty dark, but like you know, even like Blade Runner's a little more fun and like so like I just like I hope someone was checking on this guy. That's just always what I come to. Like at this point, like with Incendie and Prisoners and like all
oh
these
my
dark
goodness,
ass
yeah,
depressing movies. Like man, this guy
yeah,
was
no,
going through it.
100%. Do you want to get into the family meeting, or do you have somewhere else you want
Quickly,
to
I
go?
just want to say, like the scale, the look,
Okay,
the shells, the ships, they just look dope. Like they're
yeah.
massive with the mountains around them, the fog all around it, and like I just think the visuals are really cool in this movie too.
Oh yeah, that's another Denny staple too.
Mm-hmm.
It's attention to detail on his visuals. But
Uh,
that being said,
let's do it. Get family
let's
meeting.
get
I
into
don't
it.
have friends. I got family.
Welcome to the family meeting. This is the last episode of our Real March Madness series, ladies and gentlemen. So, the Real March Madness. This was our tournament that we did on Instagram. This is why we got our hoop jerseys on. These are NBA
Yeah, we're
jerseys,
not college. Yeah, they're
yeah,
not
not
college,
college.
but
But it's the NBA playoffs right now. Both of our teams are in it.
yeah,
We'll see when this episode comes out or when you guys are
yeah,
listening to this if that still stands, but hopefully. But
yeah.
no,
Hopefully,
so we put 16 movies up, uh, and we got our followers to vote, and this was the winner. This was my predicted winner, so I
shout
easily
out.
won that bracket.
Yeah,
Easily won our
shout
bracket.
out.
We should have put a bet on that or something. I didn't win anything.
I would have predicted a little differently if we put money on it.
What? So what were you doing with your predictions? You were just throwing shit out there?
I would have cheated. I would have told people to go vote. You know what I mean? Call up
Okay.
my sister, brother, that shit like that. I would have cheated.
That's fair. Farm votes, yeah,
With
that's
full
fair.
transparency. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're putting
yeah.
money on it. But
So this went up against Independence Day in the first round, beat it with 67%. Then it went up against Speed to take the, I guess this
Sci-Fi.
was Sci-Fi. That's right, the Sci-Fi
Yes.
action division. Beat Speed with 62%. Then it got to the final four, smoked the Dallas Buyers Club, 92%. And in the finals, beat Ferris Bueller's Day Off. Last week's episode was 69% to become our champion. Well done, Arrival. The whole crowd is about to stand up and cheer for you. I got them all to stop at the exact same time.
I was gonna say that was very abruptly. They just stopped.
Yeah, just use the hand signal. And
that was good.
Yeah. Shout out to you,
well trained
Arrival.
audience.
Great, great votes, everybody. Thank you for voting. So on our Instagram, I asked the question, and Reddit, I asked the same question. What is your favorite non-Dune Denis Villeneuve movie? And some people were like, "Oh, why do you got to take out Dune? Like, so you guys got movies that are better than Dune." I never said his movies couldn't be better than Dune. I said there's movies Dune are the most popular ones.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to just get Dune as answers, so that's what I asked. On Instagram, we got our boy Jordan. He said Sicario. Kobe and Eugen, 2 votes for Prisoners.
With no relation, right?
Kobe, no relation. That's right. Yeah.
Okay.
And our boy Eugen, who's been on the podcast. So has Jordan, actually. And so has Jamari, who also responded. He said Arrival. He goes with this one. He said, I put it off for so long because my dad recommended it. He knows ball. So you put it off because your dad recommended it. That's crazy.
I saw that. I was laughing at it. I'm like, damn, you didn't think your dad knows ball?
I was actually kind of
crazy.
interested in this movie, but you said I should watch it. So yeah, I don't know.
I wonder what. Now I need to know, Jamar. Let us know what he's said to you for you to watch in the past
Yeah.
that made you lose your faith in him like that.
Seriously. Maybe he recommended the first Daredevil or something. I was like, yeah, this is a great
Oh my
movie.
goodness. No, I have faith in his dad. He didn't recommend that. I have faith in your dad.
So on Reddit, I asked the same thing. The most upvoted was for Sicario. It was actually a gif of Benicio del Toro's character saying "Time to meet God." You know, at the end when he's sitting at that table.
Yeah.
So that's a great part of that movie. That's a great movie. Love that movie. I'm gonna ask you your answer in a second, but next was Blade Runner 2049, which surprised me.
You haven't seen that one, right?
I have not.
The one that surprised you then if you haven't seen it.
I don't know. Just because I hear more people talking about Sicario, Prisoners, Arrival more than I feel like I hear people talk about Blade Runner.
That's fair.
I don't know. It's also a sequel, so I feel like some people would maybe just not give it as much credit to a sequel kind of thing, you know?
That's fair. I mean, I can't say too much because I don't want to get into the plot of how much of it actually a sequel it is, but yeah,
that's fair.
I see your point.
Then next up was Arrival. So this is just based on what people upvoted, the numbers. Then it was Prisoners, and there was a tiny bit of love for Asan D way at the bottom with like no votes. So sorry to Eloise. That's the shout out to producer favorite movie. I love that movie too. It's a freaking awesome movie. I was surprised to see no love for that, but yeah, what do you think? Outside of, or is Dune even your favorite, or Arrival? What do you?
Well, to give respect to Asan Z, it's one of those movies where it's not. I don't want to say there's not much rewatch value, but more in the sense of like, do I want to rewatch this? It's like the movie's great, but like, yeah, it's like, I gotta be in the mood for it. There's a couple movies like that. Requiem for a Dream. Some people are like, yeah, that's a good one-time watch. Like these movies are just like really depressing and have sad endings where it's like, yeah, like I'm gonna suggest this at like a family gathering and everyone's like, all right, now we're kind of bummed out. Like, you know what I mean? So it makes it kind of tough to champion those kind of movies. But it's funny you mentioned that. I think Prisoners might be my number one. It's close. Like it's very close between Prisoners, Dune 2, and Arrival, to be honest.
Okay. That's your top 3.
Yeah.
I mean, Denis literally never misses. I mean, like I said,
have you seen all those movies?
No, like I haven't seen Blade Runner. I haven't seen Enemy. I haven't seen Polytechnique, but I've seen Sicario, Arrival, both Dune movies, Prisoners, Incendie. So like, and so out of the movies that I've seen, all of them are great. They're like literally has no misses out of the ones I've seen. So it's one of the ones whatever people say is their favorite. I'm not gonna argue it because they're all really good. He has a really high bar. Prisoners is great, but you're right. The rewatch, I think Sicario might be my vote because that I could rewatch and have a good time with. I feel like every time you watch it too, there's little nuggets in like Benicio's performance. Like his character has this air of mystery around him, so you can kind of like notice little things that he's doing, even little things that like Josh Brolin's character is doing to like set up Kate, I think her name is the main character, like throughout the movie, and like so I think there's rewatch value there, and like all of Denis movies, it's just so well put together. It's great.
Yeah. At first, you got me confused. You're talking about Emily Blunt's character, right?
What did I say?
No, you just called her Kate, but you called the other actors by their real names.
Yeah, you're right.
And
Emily
then you went to character. That's all I was like, Kate.
Because
Kate Winslet was in that
Benicio
movie?
del Toro's character, I don't remember the name of at all. Alejandro?
And
I think
Josh Brolin.
it's
Maybe.
Alejandro. Josh
think you're
Brolin's
right.
character, I don't remember
his
at all.
name either.
But Kate, for whatever
Yeah.
reason, I remembered. So I just
Yeah, that's all I was like, yeah, when you said Kate, it threw me off. I'm like, I'm thinking real name actor. I'm like, wait, I thought it was Emily Blunt.
yeah.
But I was like, you're on a first name basis with her. But
Yeah.
that's a good pick. You know what the funny thing is? I actually, when I watched Sicario for the first time, I didn't dislike it, but I didn't like it as much. When we rewatched it on the podcast, I was like, oh, you know, I really like it. Like the second viewing really helped me out for like my opinion on that movie. The first time I just didn't I didn't love it as much. But I'm surprised that it's people's number one though.
Oh, yeah?
I still don't think it's. Well, I didn't put it in my top 3, and that doesn't mean it's bad. But I'm surprised by that answer that people like that movie so much.
Well, in your top 3, you included one Dune movie, and I said non-Dune for this.
That's true. That is fair. I probably would have I think I would have thrown Blade Runner in there if I had to take out Dune too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But as far as like when was the first time you saw this movie? Like you didn't see it around the time it came out. Like this is probably like the last 2-3 years, probably.
No, it's been longer than that. It's been maybe like somewhere 5-ish years. I don't remember exactly, but it's been like a decent amount of time. And I remember being not confused by the end. I think maybe a little bit confused, just in the sense of like how I struggle to say time travel because it's not time travel. It's like it's like a time she can access like different parts of time, different like she can see the future as if it's like memories from the past. So she's not actually physically traveling there. So like that whole construct, I kind of like I had to think about for a while, and like I said, now watching it for a second time, I definitely understand it way better. So like, I really liked it the first time, and like the whole reveal at the end was just crazy. But I was a little like confused, I guess.
No, I was the same too, and I was just curious to see like the time frame and when you watched it, just because I was thinking if like the tone and stuff like that had that same kind of effect on you. Because I watched it closer to the time when we were like watching Marvel movies, where it's like the tone was a little more lighter in regards to like Alien and stuff like that, and I hadn't really watched any other like alien invasion type movies and stuff like that. So I was just kind of curious if that tone stood out to you in any sense.
Yeah. I think just because like this movie's not at all like campy, and like the superheroes, they've gone away from like that campy style. Like it's, you know, there was more like prestige kind of stories, but at the end of the day, it's like a super human in like this costume running around like beating people up. So there is a little bit of that campiness to it. This one, like I wasn't expecting any of that. So like that really grounded feel definitely did feel different than the other kind of stuff that was out.
Yeah. And also to your point, like you mentioned it earlier, like how you really liked like the look of the ship and everything. And like that was something that really stood out to me too. And like that just like how just like simple it was. Like we weren't getting like that sideways disc, because that's always like the common thing. It's like when you think aliens, you think sideways disc, you think big heads.
Yeah.
That's always kind of like the stereotype. And just that in itself, I saw Denis talking about how in an interview, how like we really wanted to do our best to stick away from the cliches, which he's like can be so hard because like you're coming into a project and a lot of times, like if you're making movies, you're usually a movie fan, so that you kind of tap into some of like your favorite sci-fi movies, and like you remember like okay, what kind of worked. But they said they tried their best to like to not go that route, which also makes it hard too, because people like the unknown, but they also have like feel like this safety in like watching things that feel familiar with them.
Mm, yeah,
So they kind of took a
true.
risk, but it worked out in that sense.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I think aliens in general is a hard thing to do in a unique way, just because our brains can't even like fathom something other than like a physical form. Like an alien has to have a body, and they have to have like eyes that they see out of, and ears that they hear out of, and a mouth that they talk through. Like these aliens don't have that, but they still do have like a body with legs. And I'm not saying that's not unique, but you easily can have like an alien that's like, I, again, I can't even fathom in my brain like a different type of thing, because I'm a human and I'm bound by my peanut human brain. But like it could literally be anything. So it's almost so easy to be creative because it can be anything, but so hard because you just can't even like think of anything outside of like earthly, because this is all we know.
Yeah. And just even the concept of like them saying that like, oh yeah, the ship, there's no wind, or like there's no gas,
Mm,
like it's just sitting there, and nothing's being interrupted by it, just floating there. Just that too in itself is just like man, like it's that too where like they can't even process. That's where, and again, that's where the fear comes from. It's just like this is like we know how things usually fly. This thing is just defying what we even
right.
know. Like with like it's terrifying. Just like this still thing just being there. Everyone's like, "What's going on? I don't understand this."
And I think that totally fits in line with like the whole language thing, the communication, right? Like why we have to start from complete zero, bare bones. Like we can't just like form a sentence and say this word means this word means this, and like show them pictures, because they don't have words. They don't form sentences. Like our writing is a representation of a sound of us talking. Theirs is a circle and it has all these different like meanings, and the whole, you can put all of your meaning into this one circle. And I mean, that's just like nothing that we have on earth. So like that's what I'm saying, that they found a creative way to do that. Whereas like if I was challenged to do this again, or like do like, okay, and you have another alien, yeah, they, how do they communicate? You can't do it like writing like humans, and you can't do it like Arrival because it's already been done. Like I can't even think of another way of like a different form of communicate. It's just so hard to even wrap your head around something, but they came up with something totally unique and really cool.
Yeah, and the fact that they actually made like the like reading into like the behind the scenes and stuff like that of like them actually like trying to make their own like language with these symbols and stuff like that. Just like
Yeah.
again, it's that attention to detail stuff, like just so complex, and just the look of it too. As we say, as you were mentioning, it's like this little paint splat kind of thing that kind of has like this inky being spilled kind of look to it, and it's just like also as they zoom in on it, it's like it's still moving. Where it's like,
Mm,
what are we even looking at too? In that sense, like what is that? Like it's almost like squid like because they have
yeah.
like the tentacles. It almost feels like a squid just like splashing something out, but it also doesn't really like come out of them. Like it's just so like visually like interesting to look at.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, and then the whole form of like, this is their language and how they speak. And like, if you understand a human language, that just means you can communicate with that language. If you understand this language, you understand their relationship with time. Like that just doesn't make
Yeah.
any sense for from our perspective, like, right? So like everything is so unique. I love the way they just, the reveal is so great at the end of it, when like you just, whoa, that's what this thing is. Like you just, the unknown. And they don't go with this, like you said, like the vertical or the horizontal disc and the like stuff that's familiar. It's so unique, it's so great.
That was a thing that like kind of like confused me too with like and like it still confuses me a little bit. Like I know we can get into it, I guess, of like she always had this gift, or like she got the gift from them from some seeing the language, because they talked about like if you understand like the language you understand kind of change your perspective of the world. So now she sees this, she starts learning the way their relationship with time, now she can see it. But we start the movie off with that flash forward kind of thing.
Right.
Was that for us, or is
I
that
think
her
so.
already experiencing those?
No, I think that's. I think so. I think. Okay, here's what I think. Because yeah, there's the flash. What we think is a flashback, which is such a great setup,
Yeah.
and we see her with her daughter, and she's kind of talking through it. So like, I think that's kind of like her at the end of the movie, like talking to us, so she can see that, but she's not at that point yet. And then so that's kind of just like a setup for us to see like, okay, this thing with her daughter, it's more for us. And then we cut to her in the classroom, and then the aliens show up, and then like, so she does not have the gift at that point.
Mm.
So I think the very, very like opening shots and like the stuff with the daughter is basically, yes, I think it's for us.
Just for us. And then I didn't actually like, I guess the first time we actually start seeing them regularly is after she first sees the language for the first time. I didn't
Yeah.
actually fact check that, but I'm
Yeah, she
pretty
sees
sure.
it. Actually, I have like a kind of a little bit of a list of kind of just the main points, because a big point of mine is just I think Denis is a master of pacing. Like I think the pacing in this
Mm,
movie is great. I think all of his movies have a really great pacing. I think he just does such a great job of like peeling the layers back and like giving you a little more and a little more just to keep you on the hook. So like this
yeah.
movie, it starts with the alien ship show up. So immediately you're on the hook. You're like, okay, what is that?
Hmm.
Is there aliens inside? How many? What do they look like? Why are they here? You have all these questions. And then, okay, she gets on the team. They show us the military site. We kind of get a little exposition of like, okay, we got to figure out why they're here, blah, blah, blah. You know, it's kind of coming down a little bit. And then, boom, first time going into the shell. So we're like, okay, oh, snap. They go up here, and then the gravity turns, and then we see this big, giant room with the huge screen. And then there's aliens in there. That stuff's crazy. Takes you right back onto the hook. Then it slows down a little bit. They're like, okay, there's a little bit of pressure from the military, and they explain how to build. And she's explaining like, no, we have to start from scratch. We have to build a language like this, blah blah blah. A little more exposition, and then boom, we go see the aliens again. They shoot the ink circle, and you're like, whoa, that's a new thing. Never seen that
Yeah.
before. What does that mean? Are we going to be able to start like writing and communicating with them? Then there's rising tensions of the public and other nations, a little bit of like kind of letting us know what's going on with the rest of the world. And then boom, bomb in the ship. Louise and Ian are going in, and they don't know that there's a bomb there. So like
Yeah.
he just does such a good job of like raising the tensions. You're going up and down, and like you're never, there's the dull moments per se where it's just like exposition, or you're just kind of like explaining where people are coming from or like what they have to do. You put that in between two very exciting things, and it's not like an action movie with giant set pieces that like you, that's the stuff that keeps people interesting. It's like reveals. It's like, here, I'll give you a little more information, and then slow down for a little bit, and then a little more here, and then like just as he slowly peels the layers back, it's so good.
Yeah, no, it's to your point of like these little moments that you get throughout the movie. They don't feel like they're not wasted, but like moments that are kind of just like just thrown in there for no reason. Because we even get like the build up to even like the bomb. Like we get those guys slowly, like they're listening to the news and what people's reactions are and stuff like that, and they're having trouble with it. And like the value of it could have just been like, hey, this is kind of what's going on in the world. It didn't necessarily have to lead into anything. Like it could have just had there just to be like, hey, here's more context of the world. You know what I mean? Like we're not gonna just isolate this and just make it feel like it's just a small thing. Like this is a global thing to like always flashing back to the world and then building up with that. I feel like even that little subplot, which
Mm-hmm.
they never really come back to those guys, which you don't need to. But it's like, who the heck is the one that bombed those guys and like to get them getting reprimanded? You don't have to do that, but it doesn't end up coming back.
Yeah, I guess they're just like in jail or something.
Yeah.
I don't know, some military prison. And I mean, like that bomb results in one of the heptapods dying. And I also wonder this too, like, because they can see the future and the past, and like
Hmm.
they know everything.
Oh, did they
So,
know?
yeah, he like they knew he was gonna die in this, and he was like, okay, but this is this is my life. Like that's one of the questions of the movie, I think, is like, if you can see the future and what's going to happen, does that mean that you still have free will? Like, do you have the option to like change the future, or is like your life's already written, so it doesn't matter? So did this
Yeah.
guy know he was going to die and still chose to go, or is he like, there's it's unavoidable, it's written in the future and you can't change it?
Yeah, which is weird because it's like, is that the way they perceive time? Like, because it's out there, you can't change things, because you can change it. Like
Mm-hmm.
they could have been like, no, don't go in there. But yeah, it is an interesting perspective. It's like, yeah, your whole way, and like the way we do things, the way the heptapods do things is that we don't change things, which is
Yeah.
such a foreign concept to humans, because we'd constantly being like, oh, if I knew what the lottery is, then I just pick the lottery numbers, or I'd pick them so I could win them,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever, or anything like that. Or like, oh, if I knew this person's gonna get hit by a car, I'd stop it. But for them to be like, it's just the way of life,
Yeah, I guess
you know.
there's no lottery on the heptapod planet, I guess.
I guess not.
Yeah, there's no point in doing that. But I mean, I think maybe also another um what's the word I'm looking for? Potential reason for that happening is like, that's at that moment when the bomb's in there, that's when they like shoot out all the tiny circles and give them like the weapon, right?
Yeah.
Like, or the 1/12th of the weapon.
Hmm.
So he, again, seeing the future, would know that that's the moment when she's going to ask for it and they're going to do
Hmm.
that. So maybe he's like, and I think they both kind of shoot it out of their hands, right? So like, you need both of
Yeah.
them to do that. So he's like, yes, the bomb's going to go off in 3 seconds, but I have to be here to like shoot this weapon, because if I
Hmm.
don't, then they're not going to understand the weapon, and then they won't be able to help us in 3,000 years, because that's why they're here, right? They're like, humans are going to
Yeah.
help us, so we need to give this to you. So he's like, yes, I'm going to die, but I have to do this to save the future of
Yeah.
Heptapod
Human.
7, or whatever their planet name is.
Yeah. They're Trunk X. They're very like Trunk from Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah. Yeah,
Coming
basically.
back to, it's like, oh, you got to stop. Was it stop Frieza? Or no, it's
The
the
androids.
androids.
It's
The
the androids.
androids. Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
the androids. But no, it's a good point. I think even another thing you mentioned too, like the whole like geopolitical part of it too, where another cliche is where like you could do this whole thing where like aliens come to the planet, but we just only focus on what's happening like in the
In the
states,
States.
like
Yeah.
in this one spot in the states. But getting that other aspects of it too. And I actually saw online some people weren't a fan of that because they're like, oh, why is it got to be like this, like geopolitical thing? But I think it's a nice added thing to have that extra tension in the background, because the fear of the movie could also just always be like, what's us versus the aliens, and it doesn't have to be also the the other humans, but everyone in different countries has different opinions, so it wouldn't just be like immediately like we're all going to agree on the same thing. You'd think it would
Mm-hmm.
be like that, but because people are like, oh, if aliens came, then we'd all be one. But I was like, do you think though? Everyone still thinks differently, so everyone would think there'd be a different way of handling it, and I still think there would be uh counteracting like opinions on what we should do.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love that they added that in. I think it, for one, like I said, it really raises the stakes. And I think also that like it evolves throughout the movie, right? It's when they first come into the base, they have all the different countries on the screen and they're talking to them and they're like, okay, we learned this today, we learned that today. This is what, so they are all working together. And then as soon as China's like, oh, we're teaching them a game of like chess, where it's like,
Hmm.
uh, every game of chess is like you have a winner and a loser. It's like a battle. And she's
Yeah.
like, don't you see like the potential issues that could cause? And then they start to get, and then they find out that they said the word weapon. And she's like,
Hmm.
well, wait, maybe they don't understand exactly what weapon means. So it's not, they're not actually threatening, but obviously it's very tense because you have this massive alien ship that, for all you
Yeah.
know, could just blow you up. So you have to be very careful and take things seriously. So when they are like, okay, no, now we're not sharing anything with anybody, they pull themselves off the screen with 2 other countries, and then a couple more pull themselves off, and then everyone's like, okay, no, now people aren't sharing. Okay, well, I'm not either. And like just the cynicism of humanity, I think it's so realistic that that's actually what happens. So like the fact that it starts, yeah, everybody's helping each other out. And then it gets to like, no, 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 nobody's sharing with anybody. We don't know what Russia's doing. We don't know what China's doing.
Yeah.
Like it just adds so much tension and so much stakes. I think it's great.
Yeah, no, I do appreciate I appreciate that element too. And I think it's also kind of funny to which adds to the tension and like the fear of like we don't even know like oh if they don't get off our like of get out of China like we're going to war with them or we're fighting them, but it's just like they might look at us like ants, like literally like it's we don't know what the scale is it like are they actually close to us, like could we actually take them, or is it like we'd like try to like throw like a use a tank or deploy like a bomb or on them or something, and they just vacuum it up, like it's about to
Yeah.
explode, and they just like suck it up, and then we're just like, oh, could they literally destroy a whole country in like 2 seconds? Like we have no idea. So like I feel like the fact that people are like, oh, maybe we should go right at them, I'd be like, don't even know what they're capable of. This might be a terrible idea.
I mean, I will say that we do know that a bomb can do damage because, like we said, one of them died. So
That is true.
and they can see the future, so they would have known that. So like it's they, like I think the fact is basically now that we know, like by the end of the movie, you know that they see the future. So anything you do is not really like a surprise necessarily to them.
Yeah.
So like if you're gearing up to like shoot a missile at them, you don't know that, but you don't know that they know that that's about to happen. So in theory, they
Yeah.
could have this like countermeasure ready to go,
Yeah.
but are they just going to let that happen because they can foresee something? Like I said, the heptapod in the ship in Montana lets that bomb go off. Like they knew that it was there and they just let it happen. But physically, yes, it does damage to them.
Yeah, that's gotta be like a weird slash frustrate, like because we don't. I mean, now I'm like going on a tangent of like I'm imagining what their life is like the heptapods.
I love it.
In the sense of like, you know, like you're chilling with your friend and like you're shaking your head. The dude's like, "What?" He's like, "You're gonna piss me off later today." Like I know, I've seen it, and like the way they are, where they're just like, well, that's just the way of life. I'm gonna piss you off. Like
I can't
they don't want to
change it.
change the
It
future.
doesn't-
Yeah, it's just like they're just very much like that's just the way of life, bro. Like I'm gonna
Yeah.
piss you off tomorrow.
Yeah,
It's
you're
just
right.
like-
It's like what do you think about it? Like you could start, I guess, poking holes in the concept, but like because Louise, like even the whole dynamic of like choosing to have the daughter, knowing how it's gonna end, like you're still, even though you can see what's happening in the future, you're still living in the present. So I think it's
Yeah.
like like going to hang out with your friend or whatever, even if you know what's going to happen, you're still living in the moment. So you're still experiencing what's happening in real time. But like you could make the argument like, okay, she sees what's going to happen. So like, does she even have to go to, play with her daughter in the park? Cause like she did it because she can see it as a memory. So like she already has that experience, but she hasn't experienced it yet. So like, yeah, it's easy to poke holes in it, but
I'm not even
I don't
poking
know.
holes. I think it's just more so like it doesn't work with our human brains.
True.
The way
Yeah.
our lives are set up, there's what is life? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'm excited to go see the new Doomsday movie. It's like, well, we all know how it ends anyway.
Yeah, we already
so why are you
seen it.
excited?
Yeah, true.
Or it's just like, where it's just like, well, you're thinking about like, oh man, like I can't wait to get married. It's like, you're not getting married, dog. It's like, yeah, I know. You know what I mean? It's like,
It's true. That'd be devastating. Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, yeah, what do you do in that situation
That's
if you're
what
like,
I'm
yeah,
saying.
I'm never. Yeah, one day when I have a wife and kids, like, come on, bro.
yeah, exactly. He's like, yeah, I know. You know the whole thing. What is
Yeah.
like? They're just like monks, basically. Like they're just like they just chill. Like because there's no what is. I'm just saying for the human perspective, because like it take us a while to get to where they're at. Maybe they're more enlightened, but it's just like
Mhm.
we're like, what are we doing? Like we're humans. We look forward to things. Like we get excited about unknowns and stuff like that. Like, oh man, I'm excited for this concert. it's like, yeah, I was excited, but you know how it's gonna be. It's like, you know what I
It's
mean?
not
You
gonna
know
be
it's
a good
actually gonna be.
one.
He's gonna show up
Yeah.
an hour late. But like, should we show up an hour late? It's like, nah, it's just the way things are. We gotta show up early still and be annoyed that he's gonna show up an hour late. You know what I mean? It's just like
Yeah.
it just doesn't work for our human brains that the way they live life.
Yeah, I guess it's just like the journey, even though you know what's gonna happen. Because I mean, even from our human brain, like we can, because we can relate to that in the sense of memories. Because I feel like to them the future is almost like seeing a memory in the past.
Mm,
So you can still access that information, but that doesn't mean you can go to it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So it's like if you know something's gonna be crappy, does that mean you can avoid it? That's an interesting question. But I think
yeah,
like if you think of like we always say, the it's not the destination, it's the journey, right? So like even
yeah.
if you know what the destination is, the journey is still worth living. So I think
Hmm.
that that's kind of like why she makes the decision to still have her kid, right? She's like, okay, I know what the
Yeah,
destination is. She's gonna get like cancer or something and die,
yeah.
but the journey is still worth it. Like going through those moments, like still living our lives, having those memories with her, still having her for 12 years or whatever is better than nothing. So it's still worth, even though I know the destination, it's still worth the journey.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. And I like that character. I like that Louise character. Like I think she's kind of like the driving force of this movie, like not to like the shit on like Ian or like the colonel. They don't get it, obviously they don't get as much depth because the story is not as much about them. Maybe you disagree,
No, no,
but
for sure.
or yeah, that she's just like yeah, the driving force of the movie. Like I think her character is great because like she's compassionate, she's patient. She was a little impulsive. Like she out here just doing like just going out there and it's like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and like her taking off the hazmat suit, it's
Mm-hmm.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Or her just being like, let me just take this phone and just like go for it. Like, because at that point she still doesn't really know. She's still trying to figure out these like this gift that she has. Like, okay, maybe this is gonna work out because it's in real time. She's figuring out like what the what's it called his personal number is like the
Yeah.
China. What was the guy's position again? The name of the guy from
He's the
China. He was
general
a
or something. Zhang.
general. Oh, we got to salute the general. That's
Oh
that's
yeah.
who we salute.
That's right.
He's General Thoughts.
Oh, general thoughts. Okay.
General Thoughts are from China.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah,
Well, I think honestly the characters I don't think is really Louise. I guess is the only one that has a little bit of depth, and I think all of that really comes at the end of the movie and her decision,
yeah,
like with her daughter and everything. Like I think the characters, I wouldn't even say that they're weak. I just don't think that that's really what the movie's trying to do. I don't think the movie's really about character. I think the movie is really about mystery, and I
yeah,
think so like wondering why the aliens are here. Like we're watching these characters go through it, but like we're not super necessarily attached to them. It could be anybody that's going up there and like communicating with we kind of like they build a relationship with the aliens in the sense like they give them names, and we see Louise and Ian kind of work together and stuff. So like they kind of build a little bit of a relationship with each other. They get more comfortable with each other as the movie goes on. But like we don't get a ton of like background on either of them. They have this one
yeah,
moment where he's like, "Yeah, I guess that's why I'm single," and she's like, "Yeah, well, I'm single too." And we're like, "Okay, they're both single and they're working together. Like maybe they'll end up together." And but I don't think the characters really have that much depth, and a lot of times that's a knock on the movie. But I think this movie doesn't it knows what it is and it's not even trying to do that, so I don't really see that as a negative.
yeah. No, it's true. It's a good point. And I don't think it's a negative either. It was just something I realized like as I was like doing the research on the movie and kind of analyzing. I'm like, yeah, this isn't really like about the characters. Like, you do care about the main character, you do care about Louise because on like your first time viewing, you're assuming like, oh, we're watching a grieving mother who
Hmm.
lost her daughter to cancer. So like you empathize for that character, you feel empathetic for that character, and you're seeing her go through these struggles. And as the movie's still like kind of going through like its middle parts, you still think like, oh man, like she's still grieving, and then she's also dealing with the stress of like this big stress of a man. I need to figure out what these aliens are saying, or else like it could be the fate of the
Yeah.
world. Like so, like you're rooting for that character that things will work out for her because you're thinking like, oh man, like she already lost her daughter. So that aspect of that character is strong. But you're
Yeah.
right though. It's very much more focused on the humanity of just humanity in general, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I mean like the panic of the different countries, the military, like all that stuff is really good. The humanity aspect, like the panic of the public. I think it's definitely like it's kind of sprinkled throughout. Like you said, we watch the soldiers like watching videos online of the guy that's like conspiracy theories, spreading that stuff. He has the phone call with his wife where she's like, "Oh, I'm really scared. I don't know what's going on," and like he can't tell her anything. Obviously, this is a super top secret thing. We see the people looting on the news, but like, I think what could have made it a touch better, to really, because like those are in there just to remind us that that's going on, but I also don't really care about it that much because it seems
Hmm.
inconsequential. So it becomes a consequence because the soldier, fueled by this stuff, is what sets the bomb off. But
Yeah.
like, I feel like the rest of the world, like the military rest of the world, that stuff is definitely very consequential. But I think like maybe if like I was wondering if maybe not following a character in the public, I think that would just add too much runtime. Like
Mm.
you'd have to completely do a whole character arc for somebody outside of the military camp. But I think maybe like if you had like a camp outside of the military camp, like I feel like there's this massive ship, people would show up. Like there'd be
Hmm.
hundreds, thousands of
Yeah.
people maybe that would show up and like maybe be, like the people that are looting. We see all these things on the news, people that are like protesting to the government that they're not handling it properly. Like I feel like those people would show up to the base and like be trying to like break through the gates, trying to get in, or like maybe we see them like the state of their camp versus the state of the military camp that's well equipped and everyone's well fed. Maybe on the other side they're like in rags and with fires and they're starving and kind of thing. But like I don't know, I just feel like that would represent the whole rest of the world and kind of be a little more in their face about it. Like we'd see Louise like walk by a couple times and see like a kid starving on the outside and just a
Yeah.
reminder, be like, damn, like that maybe it reminds her of her daughter, or it's just like a reminder of like, damn, I really got to figure this out quickly because this shit is crazy.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. And to your point also, yeah, I think it's like it'd be maybe the runtime would just be like this extra bit. We're like, yeah, I feel like you get enough of what's going on in the outside world that we don't need to add this other element because there feels there needs to be a payoff or something or some big
Mm,
another reveal
that's
that's
true.
attached from those people or something like that. Whereas otherwise it just feels like we're just adding another element that the movie works without it. But it is a good
Yeah.
point though. That is an interesting element to add to it.
At the end of the day, I think you're right. Like the movie does work without it 100%. Like I
Mhm.
said, just the inserts of like the news where they're explaining that there's panic going on and like the phone call with the guy's wife and stuff, like that is enough to let us know. Um yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it was kind of more sitting at the back of your mind, and I guess it's meant to. It's not the main point of this movie,
Mhm.
but I don't know, it was just a thought I had. But you make a good point that like if you set that up, you almost have to have her like come out and talk to everybody or something for a scene, or like there's got to be some kind of like payoff to it. So maybe it's not as good an idea as I thought.
Yeah, you
Oh
never
well,
know. It
just
could
threw
still
it out
work
there.
out. It could still be out there. You never know. We do that all the
That's why
time on
that's
here.
why Denis making these movies and not me. That's why
Hey,
Denis Denis.
maybe it's a deleted scene. You just described the whole deleted scene,
Maybe.
everything that they cut out. You never know.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you have any? I have I saw this interesting fan theory on Reddit. I don't know if you have anything else you want to throw out there before I dive
I
into
do,
it.
but
Kind
go
of hear your
ahead.
feedback. No,
No,
go
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 ahead.
go. I could close it off with this fan theory, but is there anything else you
Sure.
specifically wanted to bring
I
up?
mean, there's a small thing, but like, so Louis, when Colonel Weber
Yeah.
comes to recruit Louise, right? And she's like, okay, well, I have to go see the aliens to be able to do this work. And he's like, no,
Hmm.
you just want to go see this cool ship. I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
So she tells him to ask the guy at Berkeley that he was going to see what the Sanskrit word for war is and its meaning. And he comes back and he says, Gavisti. He says it means an argument. And she says, and he says, what do you mean? What do you think it means? She says, a desire for more cows. And that's when she gets the job. And to me, I was like, was that just something that she threw in there to be like, look, I'm better than this guy. He's gonna
Yeah.
think it's this, and I actually know it's this. And I looked into it a little bit, and it's more than that. One, it's Gavis. What did I say? Gavisti is the
Mhm.
Sanskrit word for war. It comes from the word Gavis, which translates to wishing for cows. So she's right. So I get that this is her like making her case that she's better because she understands the deeper meaning of the argument. Like the other guy's just saying, okay, it's an argument. The war, they're having a war because they're arguing. But she understands the
Mhm.
deeper meaning of like, okay, why are they having an argument? It's
Yeah.
over resources, it's over cows. So like
Mhm.
that's why she gets the job, because she doesn't just like translate word to word. She understands like the nuance of it and the deeper meaning of
Yeah.
things. But how the hell would the colonel know that?
it's That's a fair point. He just
You know?
liked he just liked the answer better, I guess. I
You know
don't
what I
know.
mean? Like, and she's like, no, it means a desire for more cows. He'd be like, well, I don't know who's right. Okay, sure. Like, how does he know that?
Yeah, the colonel is just accept. That's the funny thing about the colonel. It's like he has like this hard exterior. Like they off the jump, they were like, it's like, oh, I can be ready in 10 minutes. We're leaving in 10. It's like, okay, this
Yeah,
guy's
yeah,
hard.
yeah. Yeah,
He's letting
classic.
the thing down. But there's moments where he's kind of concerned about Louise, where he's kind of just like, have you slept? Like, you good? Like, is everything okay? Like, shows like a little bit of compassion. But for the most part, yeah, he's pretty much just like go with the flow. Like she just says things, and he's just like, okay, yeah, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
Yeah, he's just like, I will don't change a word. Like he's very much. I think he kind of realizes his place. He's like, this is not my expertise. So
Mm-hmm.
but the fact that to your point though, her just accepting that, he even lied to her. She even lied to him earlier too. The whole thing about kangaroo.
Yeah, yeah,
He
yeah.
walked out and he's like, "I learned something today." She's like, "Dumbass,
It
she
was
just
wrong.
lied to you."
Yeah. Yeah, I mean he's in a tough spot because he's just kind of like the middleman between the higher ups and her. Like
Yeah,
that's why he's always like, okay, we got to be quicker. Like, why can't you ask them why they're here? And she has to
yeah,
constantly be saying like, I can't ask them because they don't understand what the question would actually be yet. Like that's when she lays out the whole thing. She writes it on.
yeah,
Okay, this is the question you want to ask, right? Okay, so I had to explain what this means, and I had to explain why we want to know this, and like, so he's in a tough spot. That whole kangaroo story is just like a way for him to like, even though the story itself is fake, the
the
meaning behind it makes
perspective.
sense. Yeah, the
Yeah, the
perspective makes sense.
perspective.
So like, it still is something that he can bring up to the higher up. So I think he's kind of like he's taking their priorities and being like, okay, we need to get to this question as fast as possible. And that's why he's like kind of putting the pressure on her, letting her know, like, no, this is the priority, like try and do this. But he also understands everything that she's saying. It makes sense. So like
Yeah,
that's where that like compassion comes in, where he's like, okay, I have this priority that I have to get to, but this is the reality of the situation that she's giving me. So he I think he's in the middle and he does a good job. I like him.
no, I like him too, and it is funny too that that when I first watched this movie, that got me because I don't know where the word kangaroo comes from. I was like, oh, is that a really
Yeah.
like a fun little tidbit story? She's like, the story's not true. I'm like, oh, okay, I would have believed it. I
Yeah.
don't know I didn't know the origins of the word kangaroo, but again, going back to that perspective of the word, like the perspective of the story, where yeah, it makes so much sense. Where it's just like we have to like she's circling like I don't know they'd have to understand what you and what your is. We have to understand what purpose is. I got to throw this question at them. They don't know what any of these words mean. So what the heck are we doing? And then they might say
Hmm.
something that we interpret like with them when like they say show weapon and they're just like wait what like weapon? Okay, we're
Hmm.
fighting. Or it's just like now we don't understand what they're. It's just like you're putting your hands in your face in your hands. You're like, oh, this isn't
Yeah.
working out.
Like you said, like you've been using the word gift, like this gift that she has. If they use
Yeah,
that word, that would have changed the whole dynamic of the movie, right? It's just the fact that they use the word weapon. And that's why you have to do all this groundwork beforehand to make sure they understand what they're actually saying and what we're actually saying. So, really interesting concept of a movie, just like communication being the basis of an entire alien
oh
invasion. Really
yeah,
cool.
for sure. Even just it's like to even bring it back to just like human language, like slang is a thing that really messes up a lot of people. Like
Mm.
I was literally having this conversation like the other day because of like this event that I was at. And I was like, so I could say something to you, like someone could look at something in English and be like, "Oh man, that's so sick," and for us, we know what that means. Like, "Oh, that's cool." Like, but like you put that in another language, and that term "sick" of being something that's cool or like this is like interesting doesn't make sense. So you can't do a direct translation into them and be like, that is so sick. What is, I don't even understand. What are you
Yeah,
talking about? Like, that's
true.
not that, we don't use that as a slang for anything. So then you just be like, that's so sick. Like, that thing is ill. It's an object. I don't
Yeah.
understand how that thing
Good
could
thing
be.
this movie wasn't set in the 70s. It'd be like, man, this ship is dynamite. And they'd be like, what, dynamite? No, then shoot him immediately.
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah, no, it's just, it just wouldn't.
Yeah, exactly.
work out.
So, well, Colonel, for them to understand what dynamite means, we have to introduce them to cocaine and then show them, Michael Jackson. And we kind of
Yeah.
a little early for Michael, I guess. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I just have a little fact that the original
yeah.
novella, there are 112 ships that land on Earth instead of 12.
Mm.
Oh, I'm saying this
Okay.
to someone that's read. Oh, shoot, you're reading it.
No, that's not.
I
That's
guess
not
I
a
just-
spoiler.
Yeah,
that's
that's
not a spoiler. I know
guess.
they're coming. I just didn't know
Yeah,
how
I
many
guess
there was
that's
going
not
to
a
be.
spoiler. But that's I'm
Damn, that's
I'm
a
guessing
lot.
I'm guessing they cut it down to 12 just to be able to introduce this international cooperation and military conflict storyline. Because if there was 112, that's just, how do you even do that for like you have 112 people on the screen that you're all trying to like communicate with? That's just like impossible.
Yeah,
So like,
just a
okay, let's
nightmare.
make it a little more manageable, make it 12.
Yeah.
But I thought that was an interesting little difference.
I also there was a little tidbit I noticed when I was looking at the mappings and like looking at the places where I was like, I don't know if this is a shout out to Denis in the sense of like, okay, you didn't put them there, or like, or why, more so like, why didn't you put them there? You didn't put no ships in Canada.
No Canada?
No
Oh,
Canada
yeah.
ships.
Like a
He didn't
Montreal.
want to. Yeah, exactly. I was thinking, he's a Canadian director. He's like, he thought about it. He's like, do I put one in Canada? And he's like, put one in Greenland. And he put one in Montana. And he was like, I'm not gonna put one in Canada.
Yeah.
Why not?
I guess
I don't know if that's a
maybe
good
it's too
thing,
close
like-
to Montana.
I guess, is that a good thing where it's like, you know what, like, I'm not gonna put them in Canada. I don't want to put that stress on them. Or is it
Yeah.
like,
Because that's not
Yeah,
an
I
answer that we ever got in the movie, is why did the ships go to those locations?
yeah, no, it's true. They're trying to make they're trying to make sense of it. They're like, I can't remember who they said there was a hit song and
Yeah.
all these top places. So I was like, all right. Which is so
Yeah,
funny
that
to
was
think of music like that. I always forget to think it's like when someone's like, oh yeah, that song was like that song banged here, but I was like, did it only just bang in this spot? Like the people in another part of the world don't even know that song, which is fairly common with songs in general. But sometimes you get
Mhm.
wrapped up in your own bubble of thinking like that song was just big everywhere. It's like, no, it was only big like in Canada or it's big in the States. People
Yeah.
in the UK, maybe what I don't know, but that people in the UK
Montana.
don't know the song.
Triple platinum
Yeah.
in Montana.
Yeah, exactly. But do you have any other points, or can I just go through this?
I just want to talk about like the end of this movie. The last 30
Okay,
minutes
yeah,
is
let's go
just
into- let's go
magic.
into that.
But do you want to do
yeah.
that before your thing?
No, let's get into it. Let's get into the ending of a movie.
All right. So like when we find out, yeah, the last 30 minutes of this movie is just freaking. I love it. It's magic. When we find out the flashbacks are actually the future, because she has the weapon, and then she goes and makes that phone call and stuff. Like the tension just goes through the roof because nobody else knows what she's doing. We're still not 100%. I mean, this is my second viewing, so like I understand
Yeah.
now, but like off my first watch, I'm still not 100% sure what's going on and like who she's talking to and how she's talking to the general and all that stuff. But like it's just so unique that she's not physically time travel. Like most other movies, it's like she'd wake up at this at this peace gala or whatever it is where she's talking to the general, and she'd be like, wait, you didn't shoot the weapon? How did that happen? Like, you know what I mean? But no, she's just in it, and she's just seeing it like a memory from the past, but it's information for the future. So like the way that they could just access, I thought that was I just think that's so interesting that it's time travel, but it's not. I love that. And like it happens so fast. The rest of the movie, like I was talking about how the pacing was so good, it's kind of up and down. And then when like she sees the heptapod like face to face, and then he's like, nah, you have the weapon. And then she starts to realize what's happening. And then we start the glass shattering about like, oh, that daughter is actually in the future. And like all this, you're realizing all this stuff is just magic. So good.
Yeah, and then like obviously we get the reveal like, oh, it was Ian, and it makes sense because like, oh, he was like, oh, you were married. It's like, oh, your husband was a scientist and whatever. And then it's just like, I think the thing that like was really like, especially I remember on the first time watch where I was like, wait, like she's seeing this in the future, but and like her future self doesn't know that she called the general, and he's like, I think you need to see this. And he's like, I don't know what your private number is. Like, now you do. Like, and he's almost like
Yeah.
he's on board. He's like, I think you need to see this. And he's just like, wait, what?
Yeah.
So even that, I remember tripped me out where I was like, I don't even understand this. I'm like, if this is the future and she's in the present, once we're in the future, wouldn't she know that, like, oh yeah, I need you to show
I
me that
called you.
thing? Yeah, or like I need you to show me this thing right now. So for me, from the, it's not past because it's all linear, but like that, even that in myself when I was watching the first time, I was like, I don't understand what the heck's going on.
Yeah. Yeah, it is tough to wrap your brain around, but I think they're like it's a small thing that they throw in, but like cuz she quickly sees herself like writing a book, right? And teaching
Yeah.
like this language to people. So I think the point is that she would have taught this concept to the general. Maybe he doesn't
Yeah.
know he understand the full language yet, but like he at least knows the idea of it. So then he understands like, okay, you need to see this now so that you can get this information in the past,
Yeah.
because she
But there is no
brought like,
past. Well, there
but
is
there
past,
is,
but
yeah.
there's a past. Yeah.
Well, in the, yeah, I don't know. It's just it's like I said, it's tough to wrap your head around, but it's so cool, man. I actually, do you know what Shang? Because he gives her the number and then he says,
Yeah.
"I'll never forget what you said to me." It was my wife's dying words.
Yeah.
I looked up what they were. The screenwriter Eric Heiserer, he actually it was funny. He told like he was like, oh, I got pissed at Denis, not actually, but like playfully, I got pissed at Denis because he like didn't put subtitles in of
Yeah.
what this was. Like I spent weeks figuring out the right translation and a great like what her final her dying words would be, and I want it to be meaningful. And then he just cut it out of the movie, and I hate him for that. So he was like, I wanted to reveal it, so he revealed it after the movie came out. His Shang's wife's final words were, "In war, there are no winners, only widows."
Damn.
So he was like, man, I want to, what's the perfect like dying words that I could put in this scenario? And Denis was just like, no, I'm just not even going to put that in. He's just going to say it in Mandarin. No one's going to know what it is.
I figured it had to be something that was like not like nothing just like cheap. 'Cause that's a pretty good line. I've never heard that line before. And it's not something that like something that the general would be like something you wouldn't just like you guess that. Or I don't know. That's pretty good. I thought it was gonna be longer though for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Because I was also
Yeah, me
that's short
too.
enough that it's short enough that I think that like maybe she's heard that quote before. Like, is that a quote? I don't even know if that's like a historical quote that's like from a
Maybe.
novel or just from like a past leader.
But I
that
mean,
said
what
that
I
or
was
something
thinking too was because Louise is like, she gets the phone, right? She's running through the camp, like while she's on the phone with him, like trying to, because they're trying to shut her down, right?
Yeah.
And then Ian comes in and she's like, no, you got to stall for me. Give me like a few more seconds while I get this out. Like, all she has to do is say that sentence. Like, why has it taken so long?
That's what I was thinking too. That's why I thought it would be longer. Maybe in Mandarin it just takes longer to say. It's like it's a lot quicker to say.
I think it's like she maybe told him first, like, hey, I'm in Montana at this spaceship, and I'm gonna tell you your wife's final words. Like, don't shoot the gun.
Yeah.
Because if she just says the words, then he'd be like, okay, and you know he
exactly.
wouldn't. Or maybe she says that, and then he's like, wait, who are you? How do you know those words? And then she has to give him further. Like, there would have to be some sort of further explanation.
Yeah. No, 100%.
I'm assuming it's that.
Some kind of setup. 100%.
Yeah.
But I think the hardest thing for me to wrap my mind around at the time, and still like a little bit, was just the aspect of like, we understand that like time is linear, right? And every time that we'd see her in the future, like in those flashbacks, which are kind of like flash forwards, it almost felt like she was being transported into those moments and then she was living them. Cause like her confusion of like, I don't know your pin, felt like it was the current Louise being confused. But in my mind, I'm thinking, but the future Louise would know that this was going to happen. That's why it confused me. Cause like, this is supposed to be in the future. She's already done the thing where she said his final words. So in that moment, how would she not know what she said? That's what the thing that confused me.
See, but it's because you're still seeing time is linear. So you're seeing like, okay, this is the present, this is the future. So present her already did this thing, so future her
Oh yeah, I
would
guess
know
it's
how
all
to do
happening at
it.
the exact
But
same time.
it's all in one, man. So like so
Yeah,
yes, it's at a different time, but that doesn't mean she's done it yet. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Even
that's
though like
fair.
it in a linear sense, yes, but in the heptapod sense, no, she hasn't done it yet.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm thinking about like a circle, but it's actually just. I guess it's just a line, which is so weird to think about. Like everything's
Yeah.
how you're dying and you're being born at the exact same time, technically.
Yeah, technically. I mean, that's how I see it. I could be wrong in
Yeah,
my interpretation of it. It's I don't know, but I just think the nuance of the ending is so great. Like we see their relationship, Ian and Louise, from the start, and they're going to be together and they're going to have a daughter, which is a beautiful thing. But it's also so devastating because we know that she's going to die and that they're going to
yeah,
split up because he can't handle her decision to have a baby, knowing how it's going to end. It's it's so thought provoking. It's so interesting. Like
yeah. No, for sure.
it's so it's got both. Like the fact that it could be so beautiful and so devastating at the same time is so crazy.
Yeah, no, it's great. Like watching movies like this, like watching Denis films, reminds me why I like movies. Because you
Mm.
like I shouldn't say everybody likes movies, but people like movies. So sometimes it's like a background thing from the throat on stuff like that. But this is why like I want where we do a movie podcast. This is why I was that like movie enough to do a movie podcast because watching movies like this, where you watch Tarantino movies, you watch Nolan movies, where it's like, oh, okay, like this is like I like watching this. I know I'm not gonna get this every single time, but you're almost like chasing that. It's like you're
Hmm.
chasing that high of like, man, I can't wait till I can watch something that great again. Like I just
Yeah.
love watching great movies.
That's the movies that make you think, man. I think I love that's what I love so much. Again, like why we like movies to the point where we have a podcast and we like talking about them because like if you just have like a fun action movie, that's fine. But like
Yeah.
you know, you get out of a Mission Impossible movie and are you sitting in the parking lot being like, man, what did you think the meaning of the ending was? And like what would you do in that situation? You just come out and you're like, man, when he flew across that building, that was cool, right? And like you just kind of relive
Yeah.
the fun moments and that's fine. But like when you
Yeah.
have movies like this where like it just makes you think and you're like, man, if you could see that you're gonna have this relationship with a man that you just that you built this bond with, and you're gonna have a child with them, but it's gonna end poorly. Like, what would you do in that? Is it still worth it? And like the timing, like we just had this whole conversation. Like, did she know she's already done it? How did she do that? Like the movies that you make you think and you can just discuss and have different interpretations of. I love that so much.
Yeah, and I do too. And I think the thing I would add to that, and it's not even like an argument, is I think it's just like another layer to add on to of enjoying movies, like because you use Mission Impossible as an example. To me, it's I like movies that make you think, but I think the bigger thing for me is also just movies that provoke discussion. Because
Yeah.
I would walk out of Mission Impossible and the discussion would be like as if he just hung on that plane. And then I
Right.
immediately want to go look it up and like talk about like this is crazy. This guy is 60 years old, or like he actually scuba dives. Like so, there's levels even to the action movie, or of like a movie that's like that's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life. Like I need to go look up like who the director is. Like is he a comedian? Like where like it makes you do more. Like
Mm.
that's to me is like a movie that's like I need to go watch a video. I need to go watch more of these movies because that was hilarious. Or like the action was just I've never seen that before. We're big fans of the Furious. It's tie that back where it's just like that's a movie that I can just keep talking about because that's like that's almost a new experience for me. And I've seen so many action movies where it raises the bar. It's movies that raise the
Hmm.
bar that did that make you want to talk about it immediately after you walk out.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Like, but if a movie's done and you just turn it off and go about your life, like that just means it had no lasting impact on you at all. It
That's
had
what I'm saying.
it just didn't resonate with you in the slightest. Like movies that you think of like a week later and you're still thinking of, like
No,
that's
that's the
crack to
move.
me.
No, it really is
Love that
100%.
stuff.
The last thing I've been teasing it this
Yeah,
fan
seriously.
theory. I just it was just interesting to me because I was like, this movie is definitely something where your mind could erase. I just want to hear what your opinion on it. I don't know if I necessarily. It's not too crazy. It's not too out there. This is a fan theory from Reddit. From Foreign Cape Town is the name of the Reddit the person. I'm gonna give them their credit. So I'm gonna break it. I shortened it down because it was a long ass thing. I shortened it down. So this fan theory is the real weapon isn't the language. It's Hannah and Louise's future daughter, who was meant to be a key figure in humanity's ability to develop time travel. That's the first point.
Okay.
And the alien mission is to create 12 gifted children to help humanity in the future. Hannah's intelligence, her talents, is implied future potential as clues of that. The heptapods impregnate Louise during the first interaction with the hands.
Whoa. Okay.
And Hannah dies young, meaning the plan ultimately failed. Here's like the little hints that they had. They're saying the whole work together as a whole thing, which they say was them saying that like, hey, we're gonna have these 12 gifted kids. We got to bring them all together. The first decoding, this is where they start stretching a little bit, but it's fun. It's fun that they to even go this deep and even to make up this concept. But like the decoding, the first symbols that they see when it's on the screen, it's showing like what the meaning's like. There's host, there's the word host, there's the word man, there's the word woman, there's the word technology. And you're saying that host equals Louise, Ian is man, and technology is supposed to equal Hannah in the future technology that she's supposed to create. And they say that's why the heptapods saved them when the explosion was happening, because like, no, you're supposed to have the gifted child. So that was kind of their thought. Hannah is the weapon. Hannah is this future thing that needs to be the savior of humanity.
Well, if that's the case, then this directly maybe this is a connected universe with Dune, a la Denis. That's why Denis took this on. And the heptapods are actually the start of the Bene Gesserit, because they, if that's what it is, they started crafting these, breeding these people, joining houses to create. Hannah's the original Lisan Al Gaib.
Maybe. And they wrote this like right after the movie came out, so they didn't even make that connection. But now someone just throw in the comments like, this is the prequel to Dune.
Yeah, exactly. This is the very, because Dune is set in like, I don't know, like 6,000 years from now, or like really, really far in the future. So like maybe Bene Gesserit were actually just heptapods, and if they can see the future and everything, then they're like, okay, we need to get from here to Paul Atreides, and it all starts with Louise.
It's true. Technically you could connect. I'm trying to think of all Denis movies. Like they could all live in the same universe technically. Like Prisoners and Ace D could be in the same world. Like a lot of these humans and the Sicario, they're in different places, so they could technically all be happening at the same time.
Blade Runner?
Not the same time.
I haven't seen that one. Maybe.
Well, Blade Runner is 2049. So like it'd just be a little bit further past this. Like those aliens came, and like now we're just like in a future where we have tech and all that stuff. And then Dune could just be the distant future of that. So his movies could all live technically in the same universe. It's possible.
That's true. I feel like maybe in Prisoners you would have like Hugh Jackman be like, hey man, you remember those giant alien spaceships that we had a few years ago? That was crazy, right? Like I feel like
that is fair.
Someone would make mention of that.
I mean, Prisoners did come up before.
Oh, so it was before
Prisoners
Arrival.
did come up. Yeah, it did come up before Arrival. I think it works out perfectly actually, because Prisoners and Sicario come up before. So there's no aliens yet. And then the next thing is he just goes into sci-fi where it's Blade Runner, and then it's Dune. So the whole spaceship thing, people wouldn't be bugging about it. I think I'm right. I think the order.
You're right. So yeah, Incendies 2010, then Prisoners 2013. Enemy was also 2013. He had 2 movies in the same year. Damn.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a crazy run. He went like 1 year movie after another, 3 years movie in a straight. Which is actually
was 15. And yeah, nothing out of like super insane happens in that. And then Arrival, we get Aliens, Blade Runner, and then Dune. Yeah, you're right.
It's all sci-fi
It's
going
all a connected
forward.
Universe.
The only thing that doesn't,
the Denis cinematic universe.
The only thing that doesn't work is that Enemy and Prisoners both have Jake Gyllenhaal in it. So
can he be the same person?
And it's a different. No, he's a different guy in it.
Okay.
One of them, technically, I guess he could. One of them, he's a professor. Again, shout out to Louise. But the other one, he's a detective. A guy could have just changed professions, but
yeah,
different name and everything.
After the events of Prisoners, He was like, man, this shit's depressing. I'm getting out of here. I'm gonna go and teach.
Yeah, he did that all in 1 year. He just got his whole teacher's degree and everything
Hey, man.
within the same year, maybe. But that's all I got for the fan theories. To take us on a little tangent there.
I like it. Yeah, it's good.
But that being said, I think it's time, Scott.
Let's get into the filmies then, baby.
Let's get into the filmies.
All right, Filmies time. This is our award show that we do at the end of the episode. We got 6 awards, lots of fun and games, and 2 guys, and 1 language, and 6 heptapods. And
6 heptapods?
Yeah.
See,
actually,
awards.
There was a fan theory that I guess it's not a theory, but it was a question that I had seen online. It was like, does every one of those ships have their own set of heptapods, or like, or are the 2 heptapods that are in, like the one in Montana, are they also in the other ones because they can access time and they're all?
Oh yeah, true. It's a good point. Yeah, because we don't see other ones. Like, is it 2 per ship? Is there 2 in every single ship, or are these guys able to just bounce from ship to ship?
Maybe.
And like, can they be in all ship at all once? Are they projecting? But no, I guess they're different conversations.
I don't think they can do that. I don't think they can be in the same ship at the same time because, like we said, they can access memories from the future and the past, but they can't physically time travel. I don't think, anyways. So I don't think that they're able to just like duplicate themselves 12 times and be in. But maybe they they close their ship for 18 hours a day or whatever. Maybe in that time they go to a different ship and they can. Maybe they have like a teleporter in this ship that brings them to the other one. So they finish talking to Louise and Ian and they go and speak to the general over there, and then they speak to Mr. Johnson in Australia.
That's a good point.
You know what I mean? I don't know.
That's a good point. I don't know. That's a good question.
But Filmies, our first award is the fit check, best or worst fit of the movie. Not a lot going on here. What would you do?
Nah, there's not a lot going on here, and I went on a limb here. I gave it to Ian, and really I gave it to Ian just because like this could have been anybody, but it was just the orange hazmat suit. Yeah. Because I was like, it was something that popped. Because like we said, the movie's so gray and dark. The orange hazmat suit kind of popped off. It's purposely orange, I guess, just like to stand out. I did kind of try to see if there's anything distinct. He did have orange kicks on. That was different. Other people had white boots. He had orange boots. So I was like, okay, he's just full orange. So there's my reach, and I'm going to give it to him. I tried to look at that banquet, like when Louise was at the end talking to the general.
Bro,
I was
they
like,
only
is
show
there
her
something
from like the neck up. I'm like, she has like her hair's all done and she has like nice earrings. I was like, she's got to have a nice dress on. Come on, show me the fit. And
but we would never
show
know
anything.
And I was thinking too. Also, I was like, someone's got to be popping off at this. Like everyone's dressed up to the nines, you think, but they didn't really. You couldn't really see much. So I was like, nothing there. So
I was the exact same way, man. I was like, there's nothing else in this movie. I'm like, okay, here's like a nice gala. People are dressed up. This is exactly what the fit check is all about. There's going to see something. We never see her full fit. What the hell? Come on, you know that the Filmies is
that's what
Denis
I'm saying.
is an avid listener of the show, and he knows the Filmies, and he can see time non-linearly. So he should have known.
This podcast is happening the same time this movie's being filmed.
Exactly, bro. Come on, Denis, like, you gotta give us a fit check, man. Mine, I also went with the orange hazmat suit. Good catch on Ian with the shoes, because I just went general with the orange. Because I thought they all had the same.
Did you give it to a person, or did you just say that?
Really. I guess I would give it to Louise because one, I just remember these from the movie. If I have to remember a fit from the movie, I remember the orange hazmat suit and her taking it off. I feel like that feels like a pivotal moment. Like she's like, no, they have to see me. Like it's a leap of faith kind of thing. And she looks over at the bird and she's like, wait, well the bird's fine, so I should be fine. So
yeah.
I guess like the act of her taking it off. So I guess I'd give it to her. You could give it to Ian too, because he also like after she does it, he's like, fuck it, and he does it too. So
yeah, we're all gonna die, right? I'm like, damn, very pessimistic of you.
True though.
But But it's funny. I actually did put it as Louise too because I was like, it could literally just go to either one of them. But I gave her another award, so I just split it off to Ian just to give him some love somewhere. That's the only.
So Jeremy Renner can get a Filmy.
Exactly. It's the only reason I gave it to Ian, and I was like, is there something else I can? Okay, he's got different shoes, whatever.
All right, nice.
But good pick.
Next up, we got our Ferris Bueller Lazy Award. Who gets your lazy award? Who was the laziest person in this movie?
So this was actually a little tough for me, but I ended up giving it to Agent Halpern, and it's the guy who Louise takes his phone to make the call to the general.
Okay,
and I'm giving it to him for leaving his phone around.
Yeah,
I just feel like we had two guys risk the fate of the world by setting off a bomb. So I feel like we're not in normal times. You can't just leave stuff around. You never know who you could trust. Like, you got to keep your stuff close to the chest.
You're on a triple top secret military base. You're just leaving your cell phone around. What are you doing, man?
That's what I'm saying.
You probably assume, okay, everyone on this base is cleared to be here, so no one's going to release
But that's why I added the point of we just had two guys bomb the alien ship. The trust is locked. You know what I mean? Trust has been broken. I don't know. I can't just be leaving stuff around because someone else might feel the same way they did. You know what I mean? That's why. That's lazy.
It's a really good point. Honestly, that's a fantastic pick. There's not a lot of laziness in this movie at all. This is a tough one. Denis covered his bases. Yeah. There's not a lot of laziness to go around. But that one, you're right. Just when he's like, okay, whose phone is that? We got to check who that is. It's yours, sir. He's just like, oh, shit. How did that happen? It's a great one. It's a great pick.
Thank you.
I had to scrape the bottom of the barrel for this one. I gave it to Louise.
Okay.
And it's for not getting to the big question with the heptapod sooner. And, like, she spends the whole movie explaining to the colonel, like, I can't ask the question yet. We have to get through all these bases first, right? And I get that stuff. But when she goes up in that pod, right, and she talks to the heptapod, like, face to face, they're having a full ass conversation. Like, she's just speaking English to him and he's shooting out the ink and she's reading it, and like they're just literally having a full conversation. So I'm like, if you're this far right now, I feel like you could have got a little bit sooner. You know what I mean? Like, if you got to the point where we could just have a full on conversation, I feel like you could have got to the point where, why are y'all here? I feel like you could have done that maybe a little bit sooner.
Oh, immediately. No cat. No, we're not freaking playing around over here. We're foreplay and all that stuff. Just get right into it.
Yeah. Come on, that's what the colonel's saying. He's like, this is what we need. This is the number one thing you got to be working towards. And she instead is like, let's just get to the point where we can be cordial and, have tea, and then we'll ask the question. I don't know.
Yeah. No, that's a great pick. It's funny. I've been biting my tongue this whole episode. It's so hard to say Louise and not say Eloise.
Eloise,
every single time. It'd be like if there's a character named like Lexus or something. I'm sure that'd feel weird for you. Where it's just like every time I'm like Louise. Mostly because people always get her name wrong and call her Louise. Where I'm just like, no, Eloise. So like every time we say Louise, and I even look at it, I'm like, looks like I spelled it wrong. Because I just had to mention that because every single time I'm like biting my tongue. Louise.
Maybe Denis as well. Why did he choose Louise? Because the character, like you said in the book, is a dude, so it's a different name. And he's French Canadian, so maybe he knows some Eloises, and he's.
I don't know. It's a good point too. I just realized he threw the character, made her give him a French name.
Yeah,
because she's not French.
No, I don't think so.
I don't think so, but I don't know. No. That's my
Montana.
Point. I just want to throw it out there.
All right, next we got our new 6-man award.
Oh,
Keldon Johnson 6-man award.
Hey,
congratulations to Keldon Johnson for winning the 6-man of the year in the NBA. Peyton Pritchard, better luck next year, bozo. You had a good run. You had a year of your award on the Film Room podcast, but it has come to an end.
Yeah, you retired up there with Nas Reed.
That's right.
He's our OG.
Nas Reed. Man, this is gonna be fun to like look back on year after year and be like, man, we started with Nas Reed and Peyton Pritchard. Now it's Keldon Johnson 6-man award. So this goes to someone with a small role in the movie that came off the bench, that did the most with that small opportunity. Who gets your first ever Keldon Johnson 6-man award?
Name's actually kind of close. It's Johan Johansson. It's just the sun part.
Dude, that's not close at all.
Just the sun part. Johnson, Johansson. That part.
It's not.
It's
close.
not that close. It's not
It's
that
not
close.
close.
I tried to pull, but he's the composer. He's the composer of the film.
Yeah.
And to me, I think the music in this movie has like this eerie feeling to it. I feel like the landscape and everything like changes. Like of the landscape of the world has changed, right? And I feel like the music really taps into that of just like this very like suspenseful, unknown kind of feeling, and it's very like unsettling. Of just like, especially when they go into like the slow buildup of like going into the ship and everything, and like you see the ship from the distance, we get like the drone shots and stuff like that. I feel like it's very important to the film, and we've said it in the past where sometimes it's like there's good scores, and sometimes a good score is just like a score that's not like distracting, right? You don't really notice it, and you don't want it to be so overbearing that like the score is so intense that like it's overtaking what the characters are saying or what they're doing at the time. But like it just adds so much where you're just like, oh my goodness, like I'm so nervous right now, and you realize that the score is playing a part into it, but not like in a distracting way where you're just like you're taken out of the scene. And I think the score in this movie does such a good job at that.
Yeah, it's a good pick. And I mean, it's also not a movie with a ton of like tiny side characters, so there's not a lot of opportunities in that sense to go with a six man. And yeah, you make a good point of just like it's almost like one of those jobs where if they do it right, you don't notice them. It's only like if something's wrong where you're like, oh, I didn't like that piece of music, that didn't really fit here. Like when it just fits so seamlessly, you just don't even notice it, but it still provokes that emotion of nervousness or fear or whatever it is in the moment. It's a good pick.
Yeah, I just had one more line to say about it. Just the fact, it was just a line that I saw him say, that he said that the goal was to create something that felt ancient and futuristic at the same time. And I feel like it's an interesting way of putting it, which I agree. Like after thinking back, I listened to a couple of songs on like the soundtrack. I was like, I get that sense. It's got the futuristic feel, but like when you hear like it's almost like you hear like it's like you hear like voices sometimes, like the. It almost sounds like some kind of chants. It's like people like in a circle chanting kind of thing, which is interesting. Very Dune-esque, actually, even though he didn't do the Dune one. It gives me that same kind of like, it's futuristic, but we're in a desert, which is kind of like old timey, where it's like it's a mix. It has that similar kind of feel, even though completely different settings.
Yeah. Good point. Yeah. The future. I always hear like composers like Hans Ludwig, whoever, talking about like, you know, the inspiration that they try to do with the music, and I try to make it feel like this and that, or like sometimes when you listen to it, you're like, okay, yeah, I feel like I can kind of understand that, but I have no idea why or how.
Yeah,
you know
I
mean?
know.
Like they say that, and I'm like, yeah, I kind of get what you mean, but I also don't, because like like when you say it and I hear it, I can feel like I can attach those things to each other, but like I'm not smart enough.
We don't know
like,
what it is
musically. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
It's like this sound was something that was used in a past era, and we're bringing it, and this is like a futuristic. Yeah, like I don't know. It is weird. Yeah,
that's why we have a movie podcast, not a music podcast.
Yeah, I think we can relate it to like music in the sense of like when you hear like an '80s song, you're like, that sounds very '80s. You know what I mean? Like you hear like a Michael Jackson song, or someone uses like that same kind of like certain instruments that you hear. And it's like, oh, that sounds like an 80s movie. Yeah, exactly. It sounds like an 80s movie. Or like you hear certain kind of beats. You're like, oh, that sounds like an 80s beat or a 90s. Like that, as we can understand that aspect.
West Coast versus like, East Coast kind of thing.
Exactly. But when you get into the like this, like when score composing backgrounds for movies, like you're just like, okay, I'm not as well versed.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not as familiar.
Cool.
But
my six man, I gave to Michel Saint Arnaud. Who was the location manager on the film. I mean, the movie was shot in Quebec, so Denis brought it home. You know, the stuff that take place in Montana, like they found this big field with some mountains and stuff. But like, I mean, that location on its own, like the huge field with the mountains that the ship is in, is freaking beautiful. And they get some awesome shots in there. Louise's house on the lake. Are you kidding me? This house is freaking sick.
Oh
Dude,
my
as soon
gosh.
as we saw that, I was like, how much money does a linguist
I know.
make? Like,
Oh,
like
100%. I was
she has this ultra modern house on the water with like all this fancy furniture in there. I'm like, you're a professor at a university. Like, she really getting guap like that?
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing. And I guess, I mean, it goes to, well, actually, I don't know how much those houses in Quebec would cost. Maybe it's not as expensive. She found out. I mean, I guess in this world, it's supposed to be in
It's in
Montana.
Montana. Yeah.
Yeah, but you know, it's funny too. Like Eloise only saw the beginning of it. She's like, that kind of looks like that's in Quebec, and I was like,
Oh,
it
damn.
might be. Yeah, she
It
got it
was.
immediately, and I was like, it is, and I was like, well, you're 50. You had a good chance because also Denis directed it, so
Yeah.
you're also locking into him.
And
always
Michel
filming
Saint
back in.
Arnaud was on the locations.
There you go.
Yeah, as we all
There
know,
you
the
go.
famous. But hey, that house is
Shout
dope.
out.
That
Yeah,
that
it's a great
huge
pick.
field with the mountains is dope. I mean, some of the I don't know how much of like I'm sure the fog was all CGI'd in there, and like maybe some of the mountains they added to it, and you know they obviously would have added some visual effects, but like
Yeah.
some of the scenes when like Louise and Ian are just out in the field, like with the mountains in the background, I think I saw some behind the scenes, like they're actually out there, and they picked some great locations. So
Yeah.
that's my 6, man.
Shout out to I didn't give him any awards, but shout out to the set directors too, because you look at the behind the scenes of like when they're in that space talking to the heptapods, they actually created that
built
whole
that.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, like nowadays you're so used to like you'd see the behind the scenes, they're just in a blue room or
Yeah.
a green room or whatever. But like them actually being in there and having that giant white screen. Obviously the heptapods were CGI'd, but like just being in that room enough would be enough to make you feel like I'm in a spaceship. Like this is
An
crazy.
alien.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just so eerie. So like, yeah, shout out. Say what's her name
Yeah.
again?
Michel Saint Arnaud.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Shout out.
Okay, next we got our favorite quote. Who gets your favorite quote?
So my favorite quote went to Louise, and it was the quote that she said to Ian, which said, "If you could see your whole life from start to finish, would you change things?" And I just think it's a great quote because it's obviously like ties into the theme of the movie. It's thought provoking. It's one of those things that you leave. Like it's one of those. It's one of those things that you leave the theater and you start wanting that yourself. We kind of talked about it in here a little bit as we were kind of like joking about like if you knew a concert was bad or all these things, and it's just like, would you change it? Oh, you're gonna piss me off, like all those kind of funny things. I also had to shout out Ian's answer too. I didn't like his answer. It's the fact that he said maybe I'd say what more like I felt often, and I was just like, all right. I don't know. I just didn't like that answer. Maybe I feel like that question deserves a little bit more than that, Ian. But
Yeah,
I just didn't like his answer.
Also felt like he was like asking her like, so do you like me? Like, are you feeling me? Like, if I could change it, I would tell people how I feel. I'm just saying though, you know, like,
yeah. Ian turned in such a simp in this movie at moments where he was just like when they were sitting there talking, he was just like. He's like, man, I think about it. It was almost to the point where I almost cringed a little bit. I can't remember the exact line he said before where he was talking, where he was just like very much hinting with her. But I think it was also when it's like, oh man, like I've done so many things, but I think the best thing I do is meeting you. I'm like, all right, dog. Like we're still kind of dealing with the fate of the world stuff right now, and you're throwing pitches still over here. I'm like, all right, cool. You just kind of threw that in there. You'll have time to talk to her. You don't need to immediately jump on this.
Yeah, he was like, oh, the coolest thing was gonna be meeting aliens and seeing the spaceship, but it was actually meeting you.
Yeah, I didn't love that. It's a little. Yeah, it's a little corny. It's a little corny. Yeah, it could be true, but
yeah. That was my no, that was not my quote.
Okay, I was gonna say. I was like, I hope that's not your quote.
No, that's not my quote. I gave it to Louise as well. It's actually the opening line of the movie.
Oh,
so she comes in. It's like the voiceover. It's kind of like we talked about earlier, where we're like, "Is this Louise from the future?" Because she's seeing like her daughter, and she says, "I used to think this was the start of your story. We're so bound by time and its order." So watching for the second time, I actually know what it means now. So I'm just like, "Oh, that's a cool little nugget he threw in there." because on the first watch, it's just a perfect setup, you know, like, okay, she used to think that this was the start of her daughter's story. And because what we find out immediately after that is she's dead, you know, she's just a kid.
Yeah.
But at the end, it's actually we think it's the end of her story because we see her die. So we're like, okay, that's the setup of the line. And then the aliens come, and then we're like, nope, that's not what it actually means. This is actually the start of her story because there is no linear time, and two, it's before she's even an idea for Louise. She's like, oh, this isn't the start of your story. I didn't even have a kid at any point. I didn't even know that you exist. So like, this isn't the start of your story. The start of your story is actually when I met the aliens and like foresaw you and got the idea to have a daughter. So like, I just think it's a great setup for someone on your first watch, and on your second watch, it means something totally different. And I think that's so cool.
Yeah, no, that's a great quote. That's a really good quote.
Memorable. Best scene is our next one. What was your favorite scene?
My favorite scene is the first interaction with the heptapod. So like we get that slow build up to the ship, you know, like we're seeing the tunnel, which is like just really like eerie in itself too. It's just like it's all black. You just see the little square up above. Like we get to see the aliens for the first time, and you don't really know what to expect because they tease it so well. And it's just like, what do they look like? And the guy's just like, you'll see. And I'm like, oh man, like should we be scared? Like, are they gonna be creepy looking? Are they gonna be human looking? Like, it just that build up is just so well done, and it just makes it feel so epic of just like us slowly moving up, and then obviously like I was mentioning the score, which is an added element to it, and then even just like when we start first getting the letters too, it's like, whoa, are you getting this? Are you getting this? It was just like there was so much build up, and then we're getting all this information, we're getting the look of it, and it's just like it was just so well done. And I just really like that opening.
Yeah, I think that's why
scene,
like
interaction.
Yeah, I think the patience is the biggest thing that I took from that scene. Is just like, okay, we're seeing them get suited up completely. Then, like you say, there's the guy that's like, oh, don't worry, you'll see. Like everyone was like so comfortable there. They're all like, don't worry, you'll see. Like we've been hanging out with these guys it's been 2 days. Like chill out, guy. Like you're acting super cool. Like no. Them's my boys. Don't worry, you'll see them. And but then like we get up in the scissor lift, they slowly go up, and they're like, "What the heck? How do we go up there?" They throw the glow stick for no reason, just to show them, I guess, and show us that like the gravity switch. We're like, "Whoa, that's cool." They each slowly go up there, and then they see everything is so slow, and you really sit in it for so long. As every part of it, you're just like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" Like you just don't know what to expect. And then they come back and like Ian throws up and like Louise is freaking out. Like they just don't know how to react to what the hell they just saw. Like trying to put yourself in that situation of literally just seeing giant floating heptapod aliens in front of you for the first time ever in a flipped gravity room of a giant 100-foot space, their 1,000-foot spaceship. That just insane.
Yeah,
it's cool.
It's terrifying almost in itself too. It's almost horror-esque and just it's that line between horror and thriller, especially like there's even the moments when she has like that there's like that jump scare. She looks in the corner and it's just like there. Like I don't know if you remember that.
What's
where
there?
She was just like she woke up from a dream and she saw like a heptapod like in her room.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, I wasn't ready for that. It's almost like I mean, it was a jump scare. I wouldn't say it's like a jump scare. It was a jump scare.
Yeah,
it scared the hell out of me. But what about you? What was your favorite scene?
I give it to the scene at her house with her daughter after getting the weapon, after like understanding the weapon. And it's really just like that glass shattering moment for her and for us. And it asks the big question of like, is it worth it? You know, when we learn, oh shoot, like, okay, so this is the future. We thought that all this daughter stuff was flashbacks of the past. So this is the future. That's crazy. Oh, her dad is Ian, you know, like, and then you remember all this stuff. You're like, oh, remember when she was like, she wanted to get a new word for something like a compromise, and she's like, no, I want something more sciencey. And she's like, oh, if you want sciencey, then call your dad. And we're like, oh shoot, yeah, because Ian's a scientist. So like we just, oh, it's Ian. her, and then we see the drawing of the bird cage when she was like, "Mom and Dad talk to animals." That's the show that I came up with.
Yeah.
And she has like the little claymation of the heptapod, and we're like, "Oh my god, this is her like all just the reveal of everything." And when it all starts coming to you, like it all just rushes into my brain at the same time, and it's just like blows my mind when I find out that this is the future and everything. And I told Daddy something that will happen, and he said I made the wrong decision. So it introduces that question of like, what is the right decision? What would you do in this scenario if you know she's gonna die? But like, is it worth it? Like all this crazy stuff just blowing up in my brain, all happening at once. Like I remember the first time I watched this movie and that scene, like like my jaw was on the floor. And like this one too, even because there was a few little things I didn't like. I didn't remember that Ian was her dad.
Yeah.
So like that, even for me this time, was like a little.
I forgot
like,
that too, to be
that
honest.
was great. Yeah, it's just great. Everything comes rushing at the same time. It's fantastic stuff.
No, yeah, that reveal is great. I 100% agree. It's funny. I actually remember too. Part of the fans' theory, like I'm just remembering, I forgot to say it because I didn't write it down. But they were saying that, which again, off of maybe not, you're limiting this whole linear thing. You're assuming that the parents wouldn't tell their daughter about what happened with the aliens and stuff like that. They're like, oh, Hannah actually knows the past without actually, or because she's creating like the clay things of them talking, but like, I don't know. It was confusing. Now I'm saying it out loud. I'm like, actually, I don't know if it even makes any sense, but that is a great scene. I think the only reason I didn't give it to it because, I mean, I know this isn't your first watch either, so like it still holds up. But from the second watch, I think I appreciated like just like a different scene because the first viewing that 100% would have been my first scene because I was like, oh my goodness, like that was a crazy reveal. But the second time, it's not like as much of a reveal for me because I know it's coming. But still a great scene regardless.
Yeah. I mean, even just because like I said, I remembered the whole like time travel thing. I remember that was the future, but like the picture of that she drew of like mommy and daddy talking to animals. I forgot that was a tie-in. I forgot about like the bird cage being tied in. I forgot about Ian being her dad. So like even those things on this watch were kind of like a new thing. And just the fact that it all comes together in one scene, and it's not even like an exposition dump where she's like, you know, a villain that catches the hero and is like, okay, now I'm going to tell you my whole plan, like just exactly word for word what's going to happen. She didn't really do that. She's not like, no, I have this weapon where I can see the future and I can do that, and Ian is your dad, and this, like, she doesn't say any of that stuff. It's all in these little things. It's in the sentence where she says, you know, I told daddy what's going to happen and he didn't agree with what I was going to do. But you still have to think a little bit to know what she's talking about. And then the bird cage and the clay thing, like those are all visual cues. It's not just like an exposition dump, but it works just as well. But I don't know, it just itches that spot in your brain where you feel like you got it because they didn't just tell it to you. You feel like you did the work to earn it, you know?
No, for sure. That's a good point. That's a very great putting it.
Yeah.
great pick.
Finally, last but not least, we have our MVP of the movie. Who gets your MVP?
I give my MVP to Denis Villeneuve, the director of the movie. And I think the biggest part, like I think, again, I mentioned it earlier, I think the biggest part of this movie that stuck with me was the tone. Like, again, it was when I watched this movie at the time, and even on this movie, I could appreciate the tone that the movie had of just being very grounded and very realistic of like, this is how people would be acting when this happened. It's funny because the next thing I wrote was the fact that Denis and Fincher are two of my favorite directors. Like, I don't know if that means maybe I need a hug or something. Like, it's interesting too to be some of my favorite directors. But no, just like the style, which is similar with the both of them, is just their attention to detail. Like, I don't know if Denis is on the Fincher level of redoing takes,
200 takes, yeah.
But they both have this appreciation for doing it the right way. You know what I mean? Like to an obsessive point that shows on screen where it's like everything that you're seeing matters. We took our time with even just like this car driving down the street kind of scene, but like I think the sets, the music, the visuals, the dialogue, like you can tell like from just for hearing from interviews, like he works closely with the teams, like not like in a on a condescending way too. That people have said like because he wants to get the most out of every department. Like we're really gonna try to like interlink all these things. Like it's all he still trusts them, but he's like, I we like we have like a standard that we're trying to go to. Like we want everything to be excellent. Like if in his eyes, if he didn't like if they could not use CGI, they wouldn't use CGI. He's like, but it's just not possible. Like obviously we have a
Mhm.
budget. We can't create these giant ass ships. We can't. We wanted actually to make the robots aliens, but he's like, it just take too long, and like I don't know how it would work out. So like we have to do it, but they're trying to do as much as they can to try to make it feel as like authentic and like this is actually happening as much as possible. And the movie feels it. Like we're 10 years past, and I still feel like it looks good and ages well. It's not like oh man, those aliens look terrible because I know that was one of his biggest fears. He's like, man, like he's like, I either thought this movie was gonna be great, it's gonna be a complete disaster because there's so much that's relied on CGI that maybe like the movie would look good, but then when the CGI came through, it looked like garbage, and then people would just be like, "Oh man, that ship looks so fake," or like, "Oh, those aliens look
Yeah.
terrible." That would just take people out of the movie.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that they have going for it too is like they're behind this glass and they're all like shrouded in fog. So
Yeah.
like even like like little things that you just hide them because you just don't see them as clearly. The
Mhm.
one time we see them super clear is like you say that jump scare where she's like imagining one in her room. Like it's just right
Yeah.
in her face. There's no fog around it or anything. So like that one is clear as day and it looks fine, but it's like a 2 second
Yeah.
shot. The other stuff, like when they shoot their hand across onto the glass, like that one's pretty clear, but like hiding them behind a wall of fog helps in that
Yeah,
sense.
for
And I,
sure it
I
does.
think it holds up. It looks great.
No, I think it does too, and I understand his fear with that. Like with any,
Yeah.
like any director, really, you're just like you want your movie to hold up, and then if you have special effects, you're like, those don't always hold up, so that might like not tarnish it a little bit, but just take a little of the value down. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, I had to go with Denny. Like he's one of my favorites. But what about you? Who'd you end up going with?
My MVP is also Denis Villeneuve. No surprise there. I think he's my favorite working director,
Okay.
to be honest. Like I said, I've never seen a movie of his that I don't like.
Hmm.
I these last two Dune movies were incredible. He's got another big one coming up this year. I'm super excited to see. And you made the points about like detail, attention to detail, like that. All the little nuggets hidden throughout this movie that on your second watch you notice. Like I said, the when she asks about the science of her father and the clay thing and the bird cage and like all these little things that all come rushing back as soon as you figure out what's actually going on. That just to me, like when it just another thing and another thing, oh, this happened that I missed, this happened that I missed. Like I just love that revelation that you come to and all these things come rushing back. I love that so much in a movie. The camera tricks and like the vertical tunnel with like the flipped gravity, like when they're shooting outside when the bomb's about to go off, and so they're in this room, and at the end of the hallway there's people like turned on their side. So like
Hmm.
I guess that was just like a green screen kind of at the end of that tunnel, and then they filmed like a drone shot down at people like running around, and then they put that on the green screen. But like, I don't know, it just looks really cool, and it's really interesting that because you don't need to have a shot of them down the tunnel, you
Hmm.
could just have them in the room. But they're like, no, we want to like remind you that you're upside down right now, like vertical in a spaceship. That's pretty cool. The dark and gritty feel and tone, like you talked about, that was super well done. A1 pacing, like I talked about. I think the best directors have a way of making you know it's one of their movies without like taking you out of the movie. Like you watch this movie and it feels like a Denis movie. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah. No. Yeah. He definitely has like a stylistic look to his movies for sure.
Yeah.
No, I
And
agree. Yeah.
and
He's like.
even in the pacing and the feel and the dialogue and like it just but it's not in a way where it's like Tarantino is a little more like you could tell this is a Tarantino movie because there's a bunch of needle drops and like they're gonna have title cards and like they're gonna
Yeah.
like it's kind of a little more in your face as a Tarantino movie. This is a movie where it's like it feels like a Denis movie, but it's not like he doesn't have like this signature dolly zoom like a Spike Lee thing. Like he doesn't have this
Yeah.
one signature thing, but it still feels like a Denis movie.
Yeah, like to go back to Tarantino, like the trunk spot, like you open the trunk and someone looking down in the trunk. That's a classic Tarantino.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I don't think Denny has a specific like, oh, that's a Denny shot. That's a good
Right.
point. But there's a feel to his movies. Depression.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, this one, like I said, the nuance of the ending, like it is depressing, but it's also beautiful too. I think it has both.
No, for sure.
A lot of his movies is literally
I'm just
like,
teasing.
no, you're gonna feel like shit at the end of this movie. This one, you feel a little bit of both. He was he was coming out of his hole with this movie. I hope.
Yeah, no, all his movies do have heart. Even the ones like on top of my head, I can't think of the heart in Nissan Z, but there's definitely definitely levels of heart in each movie.
I guess there's.
But it just takes on. Like it just accepts love. The dark themes. Yeah,
sibling love in Nissan Z, a brother and sister.
Exactly.
You know,
there is a little
honoring
of that,
their mom.
Yes.
Oh, God, no, that movie's devastating.
Great movie,
but devastating.
Yeah. But no, it's a great pick. Obviously, we both had him as our pick, but it's interesting because I actually was gonna write down something similar to you about saying like, is Denis one of my favorite working directors going? And no, he is one of my favorite. I don't know. I was trying to think like, but what do we consider working? Because like some people put out movies like more often, but they're still active and maybe they take a longer time. Like it's weird to think like, yeah, Nolan is an active director. He doesn't make movies as like, and neither does Denis, where it's like bang, bang, bang. Like, I'm going to do Interstellar. I'm going to do Dark Knight. I'm going to do these movies like, oh, bang, bang, line it up. And I was like, I'm going to take a little more time now. And Denis had that with this. He's like, I'm going to do Sakar. I'm going to do this. Now he's just like, 2 years, you get another Dune movie. 2 years, you get another Dune movie. Or maybe 3 years. You know what I mean? They're not as much as like, I need to bang something out because like, I don't got anything really to prove where I got to like, now my name is out there. Tarantino hasn't made a movie in a while. What's it called? Guys, so like Spielberg and like Ridley Scott and them, like I wouldn't call them active.
Spielberg has a movie coming out this year.
Yeah, but it's been a while. But his gap in between movies is a lot bigger, and I guess I just mean active in the sense of like he's like really out here. It's like it almost feels like a treat. Like okay, I didn't know if he was still making movies. That's how it feels. The fact when he announced that a movie was coming out, I was like, oh, I didn't know if he was done. So I feel like if you could feel like with someone like, yo, you could stop and like you already have a legendary career. I think Ridley Scott's the same thing. He still wants to go. Clint Eastwood, like some of these guys, Scorsese, yeah. So whenever you hear they're making a movie, I'm like, oh, like you could have just stopped. But these guys, like it'd be like that's why I feel like Nolan is almost in that realm too. It's like you probably could have stopped after like maybe like Interstellar or Dunkirk, and people would have been like, that was a great career. It would be a lot small career. But it's like you did something that's hard. Like you made a lot of impactful movies. And if you just stopped, people would be like, it's a shame, but you made a lot of big movies. But the fact that he keeps going, it's like, damn, all right, we're gonna keep going. But
yeah, don't even speak those words. I don't want these guys to stop. I don't want that. Denis and Nolan. And I mean Coogler feels young in his journey. I think we still have a lot of Coogler left. Like Jordan Peele, I think, is someone that
Bong Joon, our boy JB.
Our boy JB. Yeah, he's someone that like could stop, but like I don't want him to.
No, exactly. But that's the thing. It's like JB's active, but also just feels like it doesn't feel like it's much as like, is he gonna make a movie? When's the next time? We don't know. It's gonna be 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Like it is weird with like directors because like active isn't like it could be 2-3 years until we get something, and it doesn't feel like active because
that's just because that's how long it takes to make a movie, you know?
Yeah, for them. Some people bang movies out in friggin' half a year.
Yeah, but we don't. No, Coogler, Denis.
Yeah, take your time.
Take your time, guys.
Park Chan-wook.
Take your time.
Throwing out names out there.
PTA.
Who's that? Yargos.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. We're good. We're eating good. We're eating good. There's a lot of great directors out there. I'm gonna stop there because I could keep doing this forever. Fincher, I mentioned him earlier, but I'll just throw that out there.
Okay. Anybody
He's
else?
working on something. That's it. I'm gonna stop.
He's doing Cliff Booth.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. This year, he's active, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Right, there's a lot of big directors this year, man. It was Spielberg, Denis, Nolan, Fincher, like you talked about.
Yeah, I mean, we just had No Other Choice, and like it was at the end of the year. It was just Christmas. It's still last year, but
it's last year.
We had Sam Raimi. I still haven't seen his movie yet, though.
Yeah, me neither. Send help.
I heard it's good.
I heard it's not bad.
Yeah, but anyway, that's it for us. We got two. We did that at the end of the podcast where we just name directors. We do this every week.
Yeah.
The directors that come to our mind, we just name them. But that's how we always end all the filmies. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who else I got. I'm done with that bit. Thank you for listening. If you want to be part of the conversation, you can follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Reddit at The Film Room Pod, or on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube at The Film Room Podcast. And I say be part of the conversation because our polls and stuff are on Instagram usually. That's usually where we're responding with that stuff. You can follow us on Reddit too if you want to like stay up on top of like the questions we're asking and stuff like that. Usually those questions end up getting posted around like Thursday or Friday if you want to like make sure you're locked in so you can be part of the conversation. I'm right on that, right? It's usually Thursday, Friday, depending on when we decide we're recording, Friday, basically.
Maybe Saturday,
Okay. And if you want to support the show, you can leave us a review on Apple, Spotify. You can leave a comment. We'll obviously always reply to those. You can leave us five heptapods. Five
tentacles,
heptapods.
5 tentacles.
Tentacles. Yeah, 5 tentacles. I don't know how many tentacles they had. I guess 8 because they're hepta.
Hept is
8, isn't it?
Is that 8? 8 is... Is it?
Oh, oct.
Maybe
No, that's octa. No, oct. That'd be oct.
I think it's 7.
Oct is 8. Hept is 7. Or 6. And this part of the podcast, we also talk about
hex. 6 is hex. Hexagon.
Okay. Oh yeah, hex.
7-limbed aliens. 7-limbed aliens,
okay.
whom they call heptapods.
All right.
Abbott and
We're
Costello.
going on a tangent here. If you're at the end of the podcast, now you see, we're just talking.
Well, if you're at the end of the podcast, then you're also at the beginning of the podcast and the end of the next podcast, and like you could just whenever at whatever time in time, leave us.
Yeah,
5.
How's it gonna say this?
Yeah.
Do you have anything else? Do you want to name some more directors? Do you have any final thoughts? More shapes, maybe.
Yeah. What's that? Trapezoid. It's a cool shape.
Okay.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
Let's go
Rhomboid.
Ooh, good one.
One of my personal favorites. Yeah, you gotta pop out of that one. I like a good rhomboid.
Who doesn't love a good rhomboid, bro?
And with that being said, I want to remind you that I, Scott, human.
You know what we should have done is like human podcasts. Like
true.
Human podcasts.
Yeah. That's true. Peace out.